What's happening? Welcome in, JMart and Ramon, 104.5 The Zone. Glad to have you with us for the next 4 hours. Hashtag fastest 4 hours in radio. Off and running. Another busy day. Yesterday was all Julio all the time. Today's a good bit of Julio.
Yeah.
Say that. Geoff Schwartz will join us next hour. Dr. Eric Eager, who, let's just say for the Pro Football Focus guys, he wasn't one of the ones that was over the moon about the Titans in particular after Julio Jones. So we'll choose violence in that conversation.
That's hate hour.
All the news about your football team ain't been good news.
Not from Dr. Eric Eager. And Kayla, Auntie Kayla Anderson will join us in the final hour of the show. We'll get her thoughts on Julio and everything else that's happening around the city. What's going on, Moan?
Man, how you think Titans fans going to feel if they get dissed by a guy who's in sports that is a doctor?
Well, I mean, he's not a physician.
I know. I was just wondering.
He's like a math professor.
I was just wondering, man. You see why I was
I don't
getting
think
at
they're
it.
going to be thrilled about it.
You know what, Jay? Call me Dr. Ramon Foster now. Specialist in being petty and spotting the lie.
In what?
Everything, Jay. And birthdays.
Yeah. No, there's no lie in birthdays.
Uh-oh. Yeah, we're specialists. I always wondered about that. People who just throw like doctor or Mr. I'm not Mr., but you can just almost throw anything on your name in social media. You can be who you want to.
Yeah, well, I mean, Dr. Eric Eager does have a PhD, but
Does he?
Yeah.
Well, you didn't. Well, he's not a physician. You did say
right,
that.
he's not a medical physician, which is the only
But-
people I think should really call.
What's his degree in? Like math, I guess.
It's like
Mathematics,
math
some type
analytics
of
stuff, yeah.
analytics. Okay, all right, cool.
I'll have
I'm
to
cool
double
with
check.
that.
You can actually look. You can actually look at his profile. He'll tell you.
I'm gonna look at it. You said he'll tell you.
Yeah,
He spent
it
all
says
that
it.
time.
No, I just said it shows in the profile. I remember reading it the first time we had him on.
Doctor. Do we address him as doctor? We have to, right?
Mr. Cable says Dr. Ramon Foster, Violence MD,
Yeah.
VMD.
VMD. We'll address him as doctor. I guess if I paid for my education like that too, I would also. Hey, address me, sir, as doctor.
So Julio's here.
He was literally here yesterday.
That's right.
Not in the studio, but yeah, he was here. Big. A lot of buzz, man. Where was I at last night, Jay?
I assume a ball field.
At a ball field. And a bunch of Titans fans, of course, just fans of the show, too. Hey, is this signing a real thing? Is it the real deal? I just got to say, yeah, I think it's a good deal. I think it's solid for this team. It definitely gets you over the hump as far as competing at a better level, higher level. So, it's the offseason, though. We're going to talk about it, Jay, because it's the offseason, but I'm really looking forward to either seeing some of camp, seeing him out there with his teammates. I know Bayard, I heard him on some national radio stations yesterday speaking about how excited he was and just talked about the knowledge that Julio is going to be able to bring to a team like this more than anything. And I'm not sure if most fans know or even care, but the biggest separator between guys who are good and great or guys that make it from one level to the next level is the mental parts of it. You know, it's the same thing in what we got going on. You can get lazy at a job and still do it. But the ones that want to excel, they take it over the top and they seek knowledge and they're humble about their approach to working day to day. And it was good to see Bayard as a guy who's excited about a guy that he gets an opportunity to compete with and be on the same team. That's what we're getting from everybody for the most part is I can't believe we got Julio, you know?
Mm-hmm.
That's where they are for the most part, and that's kind of exciting. That's cool. I think who was it, Mac or Coach Mac or the VOT yesterday, Mike Keefe say, you know, those guys they probably have a little bounce in their step today.
I would say so.
Yeah.
I think now there are new things that you can mind and look at. One of them is what should the expectations be for this fan base, for this team now?
Mm-hmm.
I know where they are, I think. Like, I know where most of the fans were, you know, you're over the moon, you're pie in the sky, your honeymoon, and all that kind of stuff. But as you start to get a little further away from the signing itself, and you've had your adult beverage, if that's you, or you've had whatever it is and celebrated this, now you get down to it and say, well, what does this actually mean for expectations for this coming season for the Tennessee Titans? There's that. And then there's looking at AJ and Julio and assessing where that stands amidst other great duo wide receivers in the league.
Yeah.
I think those two things are there right now to be mine. The other thing is consistently, yet again, you're still seeing most of the national types underplaying this. Now, they're not going to be able to underplay it if those guys go out there and combine for 2,500 yards receiving this year. Where if you actually look at some of the betting odds over the weekend, I think Julio's around 13-some hundred yards, and AJ was still around 1,100, somewhere in there. I may have that flipped, but you're talking about around 2,500 yards between those two receivers this year. That is, if you're doing that, you've probably had a good year.
Yeah, 100%, man. And that's what you want from these two guys is to be able to spread the ball around, create enough magic on this offense to where you pump through a few of these games. This scheduling, as we spoke about a little while, we brought it up a few times, Jay, in the sense that they're going to have to bring it. The defensive side of the ball, but most importantly, the offensive side of the ball too, because you're going up against some really nice offenses this year. I don't think we can stress that enough, man. I mean, we know what Arizona's got. I'm not sure what A.J. Green is going to be able to do in Arizona, but you'd expect him to get to some type of form with Nook on the other side, DeAndre Hopkins on the other side. Got a dynamic run. I was about to say running back. Dynamic quarterback and Kyler Murray, and you starting off really hot. Followed up with Seattle Seahawks, and then you get your big test. The ones that everybody is giving that crown to. I ain't going to say giving the crown to, but slightly just giving them a nudge and the Colts. There's a lot to be done. So you do need those two guys, those two receivers, Jay, to be able to garner a lot of attention, catch the balls that are coming that way, and make big plays. That's going to be the biggest thing this year is the big plays those guys are expected to make. I think more than anything, they got to be able to go down the field, whether it's one taking the top off and one coming underneath, or just being a diversion for somebody else. Maybe it's Derrick Henry who gets more yards this year. That 17th game this year, I think is going to mean a whole lot. It's going to mean a whole lot to the health of the players getting to a 17th one, and also just the stats too. I ain't going to say Derrick Henry can get another 2,000 yards, but with one more plus game this year, Jay, if he got, 2027, I think, Jay? 2027. Mm-hmm. Another game, what is that, 2,100, 2,200 or more? Especially if you got the teams he like to run away from on it, Jaguars and the Texans.
Yeah. I think that I just don't think you use Derrick Henry as much. I'm not saying that it changes significantly. I would be surprised if you hit 2,000 yards this year. If you've hit 2,000 yards, then I don't know. I just think you've got one football, and you've got those two guys, you're probably going to throw it more. Because you can. You feel a little bit more comfortable, and you've got the possibility somebody's going to be open more often than usual. So I think it's likely that Derrick Henry's and this is still a really good year if he were to do this in the 1,700 range.
Oh, yeah.
Somewhere in there. I mean, yeah, he could still hit it. I'm not saying he's not capable of it. I think that you have the ability now to extend Derrick Henry's career.
Yeah.
By shaving off a carry here and there.
Yes.
He doesn't have to tote it as much. Plus, who knows what Darrington Evans can bring you this year as well as a little bit of a change of pace, or just even if they're both on the field at the same time a couple of times, he could end up getting the football. You could throw it to him outside in the flats, things like that. You could accomplish similar goals. I think it's not that he's going to take a step back. It's that maybe his workload could be reduced a little. Now, if they end up struggling, they're going to go back to their horse.
Yeah. The thing that I question though too, and you guys probably know his personality a little bit more because Derrick Henry doesn't show much. He'll smile. He'll have some stuff out on social media, and he shows his workout videos, but nobody actually sees his personality, so there's a lot to be said about that. What I say is this. If he's smart enough, he should be able to want to take reps off his body. But he seems to be a guy that wants to be out on the field. And for those reasons right there, man, I love to see him just fall back a little bit. Extend out his career, extend out this window, honestly. As much as we talk about the running back position, there's there's about three in this league that really control the tick of what happens on our offense. It's Derrick Henry, Alvin Kamara, and I give it to McCaffrey. and also Dalvin Cook. It's about 4 guys in the league that really kind of controls what goes on or are still serving up a lot of production when it comes down to the run game. If I'm him, I'm excited. Either that means less hits on my body or less reps just because I got more weapons around me. Going to be very interesting.
Yeah, I could see that. I think that may be the most interesting thing. Is just there's a lot that we need to see. It's just, does it fit? Yes.
Right.
Is it going to change things a little bit? Probably. And we don't know until we've seen it how. So everybody seems just sure AJ's going to be cool with maybe not getting the ball on 3rd down and 8 as often as he has in the past, right?
He said it, yeah.
You never know until you actually see it. But I'll believe him on that. But how does Julio feel if he's not getting the ball on 3rd and 8? Because he's used to getting it his entire career. And that career is not 2 years like A.J. Brown. It's a decade.
Yeah.
Another point that you made as we go to break, we'll do this when we come back, but you made a comparison yesterday in a green room after the show. And surprisingly, I thought the age was a little different than it turned out to be. I think that might be the closest comparison to what we're seeing right now. And so we're going to look at that guy's numbers, and we're going to look at where Julio stands right now. And if it turns out that is the closest thing, then the Titans have made a good move here. That's the brass tacks. So we'll do that. We'll also continue to take all of your reactions. 615-737-1045. 737-1045. Today on the show, Geoff Schwartz, Eric Eager of Pro Football Focus, and Kayla Anderson, and plenty of time for you, plus birthdays and shenanigans and all sorts of other mess. Stick with us. It's JMart and Ramon, 104.5 The Zone.
So, chatting Titans? Well, it's our favorite pastime. Your home for Titans football and the flagship of Titans radio, 104.5 The Zone.
Hey, it's JMart. Have you thought about taking your career in the trades to the next level? You should consider working for Lee Company if you have. They're hiring right now. This is pretty cool. They're hiring for plumbers. They're hiring for electricians. They're hiring for HVAC techs, handymen. That's all levels and all locations. Lee Company has 13 community offices all across Middle Tennessee, including Southern Kentucky and in Northern Alabama. So you can choose to work close to where you live. Lee Company is an awesome company to work for. They got great benefits, free training through Lee Company University, and a really positive company culture where you can thrive. Again, plumber, electrician, tech for an HVAC unit, handyman. Maybe you're, not advanced at it, but you're in the intermediate level, all levels, all locations. They're hiring right now. They'll help get you trained and get you ready, get you good benefits, and put you in a spot where you can put a smile on your face for a positive company. Check out all their opportunities today at leecompany.com/careers.
It's Ramon Foster. And guys, I got something special for you today, okay? If you've noticed a lack of energy, motivation, and drive, it could be low T or something else, like sleep apnea, or even low thyroid. Schedule a complete health assessment at Low T Center. Now they offer a monitor self-inject at-home testosterone treatment for $135 a month, self-pay or covered by most health insurance. So if you've been feeling tired, grumpy, have weight gain, and loss of muscle, go to lowtcenter.com to book your appointment. Low T Center, reinventing men's healthcare.
Hi, I'm Ryan Kelly with HeroLoan.com. The VA loan is one of the best benefits of being in the military. You can refinance and cash out up to 100% of your appraised home value and can close in as little as 14 days. VA rates are in the twos, and we're saving our clients hundreds, even thousands of dollars a month. Get the service that you deserve and apply online today at HeroLoan.com. That's HeroLoan.com, the only way to VA.
The Home Loan Expert LLC, NMLS number 1326241.
When you place a wager with William Hill
JMart and Ramon, 104.5 The Zone, powered by All Four Seasons Garage Doors here in Nashville. All four, that's the number 4, allfourseasonsgarages.com/Nashville to learn more. A lot of you with us, 104.5 The Zone TV this morning, YouTube, Twitch, Facebook, Periscope. We'll have a top op for you at the top of each hour. Top observation coming from one of our channels. That includes Twitter, if you want to hit us up there as well. Looking at some of you, Brandon Williams, I think the majority of national media doesn't expect much at all out of the Titans. Regardless, seems to be the norm every year. SMH. At this point in time, it doesn't matter if they're giving you any props. I know that's going to upset some people. If you go win games, they can't deny you.
Yeah.
If you end up winning 12 or 13 games, you're going to get talked about. At this point, I think the question is, do you get flexed into a couple more primetime spots because you have Julio? Because I'm pretty sure that there are some of these games that are being played at noon that have no business being played at noon. Like the Kansas City game.
Yeah.
Like that probably should be, at worst, it should be late afternoon, or it should be flexed into Sunday Night Football, if it could be.
I'm just going down the list too as you was looking. You mentioned Kansas City. Later in that season, that Pittsburgh Titans game should or could be flexed, depending on what Pittsburgh does, for sure. I think that defense against this offense is definitely a matchup I want to see for sure. I definitely want to see it. And also the Bud return to Pittsburgh storyline they can paint up. Ola return to Pittsburgh, like they can paint up. And also, maybe we want to be there too, Jay, just to see it. Just going to throw that out there. Road trip. New England, depending on if Mac Jones is back. That one's actually is at Thanksgiving weekend, 11/28 at 12 p.m. That could be flex.
Mike Jones.
Yes, sir. And there's a few others, man. I mean, this New Orleans Saints, I don't know what's going to happen there with QB1. You shook your head almost a little bit with Taysom Hill. But it's a very, very, very interesting schedule now. Julio does bring that other X factor, man. You got a 1-2 punch. I'm really looking forward to this. And this Bills rematch, considering what happened. Can you imagine the storylines behind this one, Jay? A Monday night game when last year they played on a Tuesday or whatever it was at 3 o'clock or something in the evening. I can't wait to hear the lies and the story told around that game, man. That is something we are looking forward to.
Indeed. Let's see. Kerry Benford. Julio allowed Ridley to get all his yards. Y'all making Julio more of a diva than who he really is. No, we're not making him a diva at all.
Absolutely
I don't know what he – I mean, I have no idea if he's going to be a diva or not. I'm saying that we're going to say AJ recruited him to come here and wanted him to be here. So he seems to be cool with the whole idea here. Julio, we've never really seen. Julio didn't allow Ridley to get all his yards. First off, he can't necessarily control it. Second of all, he missed half of last year. He's been hurt. Ridley's on the come up. Ridley's actually now, if you look at odds and if you look at statistics, Ridley is now expected to be the top receiver in the NFL in terms of yards this season. They're expecting around 1,600 receiving yards for Calvin Ridley this year in Atlanta with Julio leading.
Oh, man. And to that point, too, about Julio not finishing out the season, he really got kind of shut down towards the end, too. I think that's a point to be made in that by saying, like, he could have potentially played, but why play him when you know you're going to have a bad season? The coach, was he already fired at that point, too, their head coach was? It's just a lot of nothing going on in Atlanta to a point to where it didn't matter if Julio was out there or not. So you're probably getting one of the more healthy versions of Julio Jones you've seen in the NFL in a while, too.
Right. Agreed. And then as long as you go out there and win, you're going to be fine. The media is going to say what the media is going to say.
Right.
We kind of parsed what Cowherd said, and some of that was preposterous.
It was.
Some of it was all right. I mean, you name other teams in the AFC. There are some other very good AFC teams.
Oh, yeah.
No question about that. But when you get to the good thing the Texans are here, that way you're not last in the division take, that's when you lose most people. That's when it just feels like a troll job.
Trash.
Yeah, pretty much.
Big trash, man. Like, are they it was funny because at the park, somebody was asking, well, they said this about it. I was like, you guys, they were talking about national media. It was like, I just had to tell them, you guys got to kind of understand, like, they get paid off of people going to see what they're saying, like, a lot. So if they say something crazy and it turns out to be not true, who's going to remember? Nobody. It just stirs people up in the moment. But if they're right about something, they're going to be first, again, on the scene to say, hey, I was right. I told you guys this wasn't going to work out. It just sucks because you beat guys down and create narratives nationally that guys can't control other than being on the field. But you spend a whole entire offseason saying this guy sucked, that team's not going to be this. Like, to say the Titans, I would have thought at least they'd have gained one more game as far as over-under when it comes to odds on the season, though, with the Julio move. I'm actually kind of shocked about that.
Again, if you're not a quarterback, you don't move the lines. It just doesn't happen.
You've been saying it for a while.
Well, I mean, I've seen it because I've talked to people and listened to them for years. Basically say Vegas doesn't care if you're not a quarterback. I'm not a gambler at all.
Yeah.
I don't it's not my universe. But quarterbacks are the game. J.J. Watt went down early a couple of years ago with the Texans. And this is back before the franchise had come apart. And the line didn't move at all.
Yeah.
It was almost like it didn't matter that he went down. Even though J.J. Watt's name carries all this cloud and that's what you're talking about, it just doesn't matter. Now, it moved like a half a point for week one for the Cardinals game. But in terms of win-loss, it didn't because, well, and maybe you mitigate it a little bit and suggest that Corey and Jonnu leaving, Julio's coming in, but he has to replace both those guys in some ways. We don't know what Josh Reynolds is going to be. And then it's the Titans.
You speaking of JJ too, I think I ain't gonna say a comparison needs to be made, but something's got to be brought up. You got a lot of people that's questioning this Julio and his age thing, which we got to get into that comparison.
I've got this. This is what I teased before the break, man.
But it's funny that people are vying and absolutely loving and wanting J.J. Watt. I'm talking about craving to have him on their team. There was a sweepstake for him. He was a free agent. But this is the thing about J.J. Watt, though, too. He's been a highly injured guy. He's been a guy that only controls one variable, and that's trying to get to the quarterback. And you had teams, even this fan base is like, bring J.J. Watt to Nashville, but it's also question marks when you bring in a guy like Julio, who still, again, hasn't been injured a whole lot, got a couple nagging things. I saw 3HL yesterday talking about his injury list, but who doesn't have a long injury list in the NFL?
The only thing is he's had a toe that's bothered him for years, where he's played through it but not been nearly as good as he's been otherwise.
But what I'm comparing is JJ's had like season-ending injuries.
Oh, well, dude, I didn't
want
JJ. We didn't want JJ Watt on this show.
We didn't.
For that very reason.
But his was more accepted when it comes to, bring JJ. I'm like, no, don't bring JJ, people. Let's think about this.
Yeah, I mean, I definitely think JJ's a much bigger injury concern than Julio by any stretch of the imagination. So that a lot of people were saying, hey, this is Randy Moss going to New England. Not coming to Tennessee when he went to New England at 30 years old. And I think that what we were talking about in the green room after the show yesterday is maybe closer. It's around the same age when this guy made a move. And he had only played, the difference here would be he played 8 years before he made his move, whereas Julio's been in the league for a decade.
Yeah.
So a little bit longer. Julio also has more yards than this guy did.
In that time frame?
Well, I mean, this guy in his career caught for 15,934 yards. And that's in 14 years.
Yeah.
Julio in 10 has 13 plus. So he's actually on pace to have a better career.
Yeah.
Now, touchdown-wise, no. This guy's a touchdown machine and was throughout much of his career. He has years of 14, 13, 16, 13, 14, 9, 13, 15, 10, 9, 8. A lot of that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
But the comparison you made was T.O. when T.O. left San Francisco and went to Philadelphia. And I assumed, and so did Schaefer, we thought, he was probably, 28, somewhere in there. No, he was 30. He played from 23 to 30 in San Francisco. That was 8 years. And in that time, he missed a couple of games in 99, 2 to be exact, 2 in 2000, 2 in 2002, and 1 in 2003 in terms of games missed or games where he and any game he played, he started. It looks like after his kind of early stuff in his career. He left San Francisco with 8,572 yards in 8 years. Again, touchdowns were really, really impressive. And then he went to Philadelphia for 2 years. In Philadelphia, he had 1,200 yards as a 31-year-old in 2004. And then in 2005, he had 763 yards. So he gives them about 2,000 yards in 2 years before he goes to Dallas.
He was injured at 32 years old, right? Wasn't that the year he got injured in Philly?
Yes.
Super Bowl,
yeah,
right?
Yeah. He only played 7 games that year. Then he goes to Dallas. And when he went to Dallas as a 32-year-old.
Yeah.
So maybe you actually include both the first stops and say what you're really getting is T.O. in Dallas. If you're making an apples to apples. And they're not the same guy. I get that. But what did he do in Dallas? Let's just say it's not bad.
No.
1,180 yards, 1,355 yards, 1,052 yards. That's what he did at ages 33, 34, and 35.
Yes, sir.
Now, we're talking about a Hall of Famer here in T.O., but we're also talking about a pretty much no doubt first ballot Hall of Famer in Julio Jones, too.
Exactly.
So I think, Moan, when you said it at the time, I didn't realize the age was as close. But I think you include both San Francisco and Philly and say this is Dallas.
Yeah.
The Titans are playing the role of the Dallas Cowboys right now.
Right.
And this would indicate, with not everything being equal, I think this is the comparison. It's not Randy Moss. It is T.O. going to Dallas from Philadelphia.
Yeah. And if I could, though, too, we want to look further into it because I was like, let me check out Hall of Fame wide receivers, too. You know, and I sent this to the Slack, and I'm just looking at, like, Hall of Fame wide receivers. Jerry Rice is the man. I'm not comparing. I'm just saying, look, if we're talking about Hall of Fame type guys, then we got to look at his numbers and what they did in their older age. At 32, Jerry Rice, 1,499, basically 1,500 yards. At 33, 1,848 yards. At 34, 1,254 yards. And he even had, at 40 years old, 1,211 yards. That's a older guy. Another guy, you can say similar body type, kind of plays similar to him. Larry Fitzgerald, at 32 years old, 1,215 yards. At 33, 1,023, and at 34, 1,156 yards. These guys are in their 30s.
Who was this guy?
That was Larry Fitzgerald.
Okay.
Marvin Harrison, whichever one you want to call him. Cautiously.
No, you don't want to call him.
You want to call him anything. But at 32 years old, 1,113 yards. At 33, 1,146. And at 34, 1,366 yards. Andre Johnson, another big body wide receiver. At 32, 1,407 yards. And at 33, 936. Then he came to the Titans, I think, and retired not soon after that. So what we're seeing is at 32, these guys who are Hall of Fame capable, the same way we expect Julio to be, are still excelling in their careers. And now I'll say this too. The one guy that you kind of be like, okay, you question was Michael Irvin. At 32, he did 1,057. Then he retired at 33. I think Randy Moss retired at 33 also. But at 32 years old, Randy Moss had 1,264 yards. So the age thing is another factor in how to knock a guy down as far as negotiating or reasons why they won't ball. But there's been a lot of guys that show that they still do ball who are Hall of Fame caliber type guys.
Right. And a lot of those guys are built different, but their mindsets are different and all of this. I think most of us agree, we're looking at about 2 to 3 years here.
Yeah.
I mean, that's kind of what you're looking at. That's absolutely worth the investment if he's able to play the vast majority of that time because we know what he means. I saw some people saying, well, he's great as a decoy. You didn't sign him to be a decoy.
Okay.
Stop. This isn't Madden. You're not signing dudes to be decoys.
Okay.
Tell Julio he's a decoy.
Oh, please go disrespect. You saw what KD did to the reporter last night.
Yeah.
He was like, did you expect? Yes, I expected to be this good.
Yeah.
Tell Julio he's going to be a decoy, Jay.
Yeah. No, I'm not.
You not going to tell him? Because
I was about to say, we can call him Julio Jones.
Julio Jones.
Because I wouldn't use his real name if I said Julio Jones.
The big decoy. Nah, this
it's tough because it's both J's.
Yeah, I know. We tried. And you're a wordsmith.
Julio Jones.
Julio Jones.
There it is.
See, you good with
Julio Jones.
You good with that?
Yeah. So I think that's it. I mean, I think that if you look at those first 8 years in San Francisco and then the next 2 with Philadelphia, you look at a guy that was very prolific that if you were to add those 2 totals together, 8,572 in San Francisco and 1963 in Philadelphia. So let's just round that up and say 8,600 and 2,000. You're sitting at about 11,600 yards in those 2 stops.
Wow.
Played in a Super Bowl with Philadelphia and lost to the New England Patriots. Julio Jones, 13,000 yards in his career, played in a Super Bowl against the Patriots and lost.
Look at that. Whoa. Look at you just dropping bombs today, man.
Well, I'm looking into it because I looked deeper into your point because it made total sense to me. And I was driving home and I was thinking about it. I was just like, I think that's the comparison.
That is the comparison.
I think that's what you acquired. You're the Dallas Cowboys acquiring T.O. after a decade of his career, after the Super Bowl appearance with the Eagles. And I think if that's the comparison, kudos to John Robinson.
That's a win.
For what we assume is probably a second because you get a compensatory pick back. Yes, you took on all the salary.
Yeah.
We'll see what that means down the road. The cap is not a myth, but if you saw Mike Sando kind of trying to parse what the cap is and what it isn't yesterday, I thought it was a really interesting kind of – it wasn't a thread necessarily, but it was just his comments popping up throughout the day about the salary cap.
Yeah.
The cap prevented teams from doing such and such. A lot of times the cap is used as an excuse by teams for what they're not doing or who they're not paying. And the point was, if this was a 22-year-old Julio Jones, 25 teams would have found the room or would have done what they had to do, cutting guys or whatever else. But 32, the cap all of a sudden means a little bit more. Truce, he says, the cap is a factor. The cap is not always the factor it's made out to be. Teams love saying the cap made them do stuff. And then 3, teams that couldn't even bid because of the cap could find ways to bid if, say, a 22-year-old Julio were available at the same price.
That's true. I give him that.
So it's like the cap isn't a myth, but the cap can be overemphasized, overrated. And Sando then puts up a gif of John C. Reilly, one of those face gifs, and he's like, this is the expression on fans' faces when they're told certain things can't be done because of the cap, only to see teams with tight cap situations making big moves. We can avoid this by saying the NFL salary cap can be gotten around in short term, but there are consequences. It's taking on debt. That's what it is. It's taking on debt where eventually the bill does come due if you keep sending voidable years and all this stuff down the road. And then you end up moving that player retires or whatever, like all that money will eventually come due. But in the short term, if you want to do something, you can do something.
Yeah, you're just going to have to pay those bills later.
You're going to have to, I mean, it's going to cost you down the road. But this is a win now move. That's the thing that we know about Julio. So 615-737-1045. That is the telephone number. I see Jamie is on line 1. I see Cuzzo Bam is out here waiting. So you guys wait through this commercial. When we come back, we'll start taking some of your phone calls and thoughts. We start rolling in the guests in hour 2. Geoff Schwartz has already tweeted, Titans fans are going to love me and Eric today. Talking about Dr. Eric Eager, who's coming on from Pro Football Focus, who was one of the guys that definitely was not as big a fan of the Julio move in terms of what it means for the Titans. Geoff is a hilarious human being who I think is going to say some smart stuff that you like and some smart stuff you don't like. And that's generally how that goes.
That's what I was going to say. His pettiness is ready to go.
Oh, yeah, he's definitely going to be on. He's definitely going to be on 10. 615-737-1045. We'll start taking your phone calls when we come back. JMart and Ramon, 1045 The Zone.
Believe me, they sound better than they look. 1045 The Zone TV. Live on Facebook, Twitch, YouTube, and Periscope.
Mortgage interest rates are still sitting at an all-time low level, but they are starting to tick up. So if you've been sitting on the fence to get a refi, if you haven't gotten your pre-approved home locked in, now is the time. Quit waiting for a lower rate, as they won't stick around much lower. The interest rates are still sitting in a low 2%, which means by refinancing your 30-year mortgage, the home loan expert can save you hundreds of dollars a month. This past year has been tough for a lot of different reasons. We know that getting past the pandemic, living in it, just bills and debt, loss of job, just stuff stopped. But your home is your biggest asset. And with the home equity so high right now, it's the perfect time to do a cash out refi. They can lower your monthly payments, give you cash to pay off debt, and have you skip a few mortgage payments. That's how you start 2021 with a little less work. So we've been sitting at home for months, some people, okay, and been looking at homes on this market. We see the houses in this area are selling super, super fast. So getting pre-approved is key to finding your dream home. At thehomeloanexpert.com, they can lock in your interest rate, project your payments, and get you pre-qualified. So when you find that right home, you can submit your offer and close on your dream home. TheHomeLoanExpert.com are doing more home loans than ever, are closing purchases in less than 30 days. So don't wait. Visit TheHomeLoanExpert.com.
Hi, I'm Zach Allen at Buddy Allen Carpet One, and we know life can get a little crazy. When it comes to flooring problems, we can help, whether it's little ones that have spills or four-legged friends that have accidents. With all types of flooring, we have a waterproof, pet-proof, kid-proof solution to keep your floors looking beautiful.
JMart and Ramon, 104.5 The Zone. Glad to have you with us. We're talking a lot of Julio Jones, just like we did yesterday. It's still what's on everybody's mind. There's a lot to get to. We do want to kind of look at other wide receiver tandems in the league and see where Julio and AJ stack up. And we will do that. Plus, Geoff Schwartz will join us in the second segment next hour. Let's go to Jamie on line one. He's up first this morning. Jamie, what's up?
Hey, guys. First of all, just like you said earlier, winning shuts everybody up. And, not a huge Titans fan, but, Nashville, any of the sports have never gotten a lot of respect. Titans have never gotten respect. People like to trash the Titans. But the other thing I want to point out is that Henry had 6 games last year where he didn't rush for 100 yards, one of those being the Steelers. And I thought the Steelers did a great job with Bud Dupree. Bud actually hit him in the backfield 5 different times. And they stacked the box. They even had Spillane in there making stops on that goal line. And I think the Steelers had kind of figured it out. So I'm kind of looking at that game being flexed with Bud's return. But the thing that I want to talk about is that I didn't really realize that Julio was as big as Terrell, like 6'3", 220. I think Terrell's 224. And I guess you don't realize it because Terrell was always videoing himself doing sit-ups and push-ups in his driveway.
Yeah.
But at this point, what are defenses going to do? Like, legitimately, are you going to put your corners? What NFL team has good enough corners to put one corner on the island against Brown, one corner on the island against Jones? Because you've got to stop Derek. And if you don't stop Derek, it's just 6, 7, 8 yards every single play. I'll hang up and listen.
Yeah. That's the thing about it. Again, Julio's no decoy. And unless Todd Downing is a guy that shows his tendencies a whole lot as far as run-pass goes, then they shouldn't be able to read what's going on. I'll say this is I've heard people say that Julio doesn't practice a whole lot, he take plays off and stuff like that sometimes in the game. As far as being a pro, you got to know and know when and where to take your breaks if that's something that he does. And I've never heard it be that type of obvious though. But he's a guy to me seem like he's going to sell out in the run game, at least run guys off if he has to as far as the running game goes. And the passing, I think, can take care of itself. If you're not afraid of his speed still, then I think you're an idiot or you just as much as an elite athlete as he is. Because to say he still doesn't have speed, I guess we got to find his next gen and see what his top-end speed was maybe last year, as far as has he fallen off yet.
Well, he's not running a 4.3 now.
No.
He's probably in the high 4.4s or low 4.5s. If he's in a 4.5 range, who cares? It's route running and all that kind of stuff. You're still going to get a great Julio Jones out of this. Cuzzo Bam's next on the line. Bam, what's going on?
Yo, what up, Bam?
What's up, Bam?
Hey, yo, check this out. First off, I want to say to both of y'all, I meant what I said Sunday. JMart, I was there on the Confused episode when you first got there.
Yeah.
And I've been riding ever since then, and I ain't going nowhere, man. That's what, just like we tighten up for life, we JMart and Ramon for life.
I appreciate you, Bam.
Sir.
That's nice of you, brother.
Second off, man, when it comes to this offense, I really, now that it's actually here, I actually feel like this offense is going to be better than what it was last year. Meaning because, again, I think everybody's looking at the big four, but I think Ferkser and Reynolds are going to have breakout years because everybody's concerned about the big four. So nobody is concerned about Josh Reynolds, who can come down to the slot and probably have, if we 3rd and 6, 3rd and 7, 3rd and long, he may be a dime in that kid because that seemed like what he did where he was at. I watched some of his reels. It seemed like he was a force. I think our offense could be just as potent, if not more deadly this year. And I also think people, and I mean rightfully slow, I understand everybody sleep on our defense because of how it was last year, but they went and got some dogs, man. They went and got people who got I don't care attitude. So I think the attitude of the defense will be way more, if they can keep us if they can get us off the field on 3rd down, I think we're going to see a totally different Titans team, man. I'm sick of dude from First Take, Nick, whatever his name is. Like, it's almost like the Titans took his girlfriend or something like that. Like, he's really got a problem with the Titans, and it's almost like, yo, who took your chick, man? You know what I'm saying?
We're talking about Nick Wright?
Yeah, Nick Wright, bro. When I say he's really got a thing out for the Titans, like yesterday, even with all the great moves that they're making, he's still like, bro, who took your girlfriend?
Well,
bro?
you know who he's a fan of, right? Like, I mean, like a big time hardcore fan of.
Who's that?
Kansas City.
Ain't he like
Is
the Chiefs
he?
or something like that?
Yeah, he's a huge Chiefs fan.
Yeah, and I'm like, bro, did King Henry take your girl? You know what I'm saying? I mean, no matter what happens with the Titans, he's always just down in them, man. So it's just kind of like, yo, I'm hoping this year that we put up record numbers to just kind of like shut people like him up, shut people like the whole media up. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
We made this move. We made moves on defense, and they still call us the underdogs.
Well,
you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
I mean, that's all I had, man.
Don't have to
All right,
show
man.
and prove.
Appreciate you.
Yeah.
I did want to snipe you. Make sure we got to the end of that call. We'll have a repeat of yesterday. That's the thing, though. You will shut them up if you win games.
Yeah.
There's only so much they can say if you continue to win games. And I said, look, Farsender is on Twitch. He says, why keep worrying about national media? Keep supporting the people that actually know about the team. You have to care that the national media, you have to care about it to some degree. You might not personally, but that's how you get on national TV. That's how you get primetime games. All the discussions that happen all week mean a lot to the bottom line of a franchise, mean a lot to how the rest of the world feels about it. Stuff like you do have to understand where the national media is when it comes to your football team. You don't have to watch any of that stuff. We're commenting on it because that's what the vast majority of this country are going to hear. Here in Nashville, it's different, but you can't live within your own little bubble. You have to see what everyone is speaking about. What is the national perception? Because some guy that's not Matt Moon or Farsender or Bam or somebody like that that's listening right now in Arizona to ESPN is going to think the Titans are trash because of the way that it's perceived. I know we got one more call. It's Al. And Al, you hang with us. We'll get to it on the other side. We'll continue to talk about this. Andrew Brandt just put up an amazing comment. The cap ain't a myth is the key to this comment, but it explains Julio's cap charge for the Titans and the Falcons. This is worth hearing. We'll do that to open. Plus, top ob when we come back as well. JMart and Ramon, 104.5 The Zone.
Sometimes they just get down to business.
We got a little business here on the table.
Blaine and Mickey, this afternoon, 1 to 3 on 104.5 The Zone.
This is Boomer Esiason with the CBS Sports Minute.
What's happening? JMart and Ramon, 104.5 The Zone. Hour 2 of the hashtag fastest 4 hours in radio is upon us. Top observation, top ob this hour goes to Caroline. She's another one of the day ones. Asked a question about 45 minutes ago on Twitter. What's Ramon doing on his phone? Looks like he is fixing his hair.
No, I was. I create this habit anytime my hair grows out, man. I'm always rubbing it like crazy. I'm actually about to cut it down soon. But I was just scrolling, looking at comments, and doing the habit of rubbing my hair, man. I wasn't fixing it. It's cool.
You know who gets cut today?
Who?
Margot.
Margot?
Yeah?
Yeah.
Hopefully she's not listening right now.
She gets nervous.
Yesterday I bathed her, gave her, because you don't want to take her to the groomer.
Yeah.
You want her to be kind of,
ready to
clean
go
and everything. So she doesn't even realize she's going to get another one today.
Yeah? Yeah.
That's what you get.
I say.
Hey, man, it's summertime.
You run
She'll
that house.
she won't like it at the time. Then she'll be good with it after the fact.
Does she
She'll be
growl?
Cooler. What do you mean does
when
she growl?
When she get cut?
I
Like,
don't
she's
know.
Just
The first
agitating.
I don't think she's terrible. She doesn't like people messing with her face.
Ah. You leave it with the pork chops or the handlebar mustache.
The tombstone mustache.
Tombstone mustache.
Who does
Smells
like
their
having
tombstone.
someone messing with their face? Let's be real for that.
I mean, you don't, but you appreciate the end product, though, if you're getting it shaved at a barbershop or something. I need to go. But
I mean, I tend to growl from time to time.
you
Someone's
tend to
messing with my
growl.
face. Yeah.
You
Why
do
not?
that when people get around your snack cabinet, though.
Your snack cabinet?
Snack cabinet.
I don't have a snack cabinet.
You don't have a snack cabinet?
This
in the
show is a
house?
snack cabinet.
No, the snack cabinet is where you're sitting right now because Slay brings everything in.
Your face is a snack cabinet.
The snack cabinet.
Snack
just
cabinet,
get
your
ate
face.
up. Eat your face off.
So this Andrew Brandt tweet, Shave, we both saw it around the same time. Look, cap is not a myth, okay?
Calorie sap.
Andrew Brandt tweets out, Julio Jones will have a cap charge of $15.3 million for the Titans in 2021. That much we already knew, barring some kind of change, right?
Yeah.
Julio Jones will have a cap charge of $15.5 million for the Falcons in 2022.
For the Falcons?
Next year.
He still has a cap.
In 2022, he's going to have a cap charge of $15.5 million.
I've known guys to be that. Lamar Woodley was a guy I played with. Wasn't on the Steelers team at the time, was in Arizona. And he still had a cap charge of like maybe 13, 14 million at the time. I remember that being the case.
That's what happens when you convert salary to a signing bonus. Because, yes, the Titans took on all the salary, but that signing bonus still has to be paid out after he leaves. That's the whole point of a dead cap charge. Remember I told you I didn't know anything about the cap?
Now
I'm starting to grasp it. I had a conversation with my mother and father-in-law on Saturday, and they were asking me about money. They didn't realize how just intricate all this gets. I said, I'm not an expert by any means. I'm trying to crawl before I walk. I'm CG right now. You still got to hold me, but I'm doing a little bit better with some of this information.
Yeah, you're going to have to pay those bills later, man. And that's the thing about it. You can sign them now, but $22 million is still going to kind of like prohibit the Falcons from making the moves that they want to make unless they restructure and push money down the line again.
Which is
where
why
we are.
Which is why I think it was actually Andrew Brandt's piece that I quoted from SI a few weeks ago where he says, look, the smart thing to do is pay as you go. It's the same thing with a credit card. You don't want to get into big debt because you don't know exactly what you need later on down the road and you're already paying for this kind of stuff. It's just a way, like sports is a little bit different, but if you want to boil it down, that's what it is. It's just taking on debt.
Yeah, it's taking on debt.
Make sure that APR is 0% if you're going to do that.
And that goes for that. That's the same way too for players. I was listening to what's her name? God, I just had it on the tip of my tongue. Linda Cohn last night talking to I think a former Packers GM. He was actually there when they were doing the transition between Brett Favre and Aaron Rodgers, of course, because they were talking about them. That's another topic for the day, how Aaron Rodgers might get an excused absence. But he was talking about, NFL players, like every other sport kind of does, and the NBA does it the best as far as, hey, pay me as I play. Therefore, when I get the opportunity to go to another team, you're not trying to trade me to a team that I don't want to go to or a team that that's not winning at all. Like, or you got to cut me. Like, pay me as I go. Tom Brady just did it. You know what I'm saying? I think the NFL is just such a high risk factor that as much money as I can get when I can get it, I'm going to take it. But then you find yourself in a situation like Julio, which it turned out better for him than others, but it just sucks sometimes. Like, we are in a sport to where I need my money now, and the NBA and other sports are somewhat different in that approach.
Al is in New Jersey. Al, what's up?
Hey, good morning, guys. How you
Morning,
doing?
Al.
Hey, good. I listen to you guys every morning. I'm out here stuck in Giants and Jets country, and I can't stand it. So I got to tune into the zone. But,
Good stuff.
I think what the average fan is missing, that Julio was so respected by Atlanta, I think they did him a favor in getting the deal done, because they could have waited and could have got something better. But they let's get this man in camp, let him get to where he wants to be, so they can work that chemistry out, you know? Because I think that's going to be really important for the Titans. And another thing I really think is going to happen that a lot of people are missing, everybody's talking about AJ and Julio on the outside. I think we're going to see AJ in the slot a lot more, going up against that safety or that third corner, which is really just going to open our game up, man. So, you know, yeah. I'm just so excited, man. It's going to be awesome.
Yeah, gotta be. I think they may have considered Julio filling some, but to our point though is they got a business to run.
Yeah, I mean, look, that's what Albert Breer said in MMQB yesterday. This wasn't some kind of attaboy. It wasn't Arthur Smith trying to help out the Titans. It was the Titans put the best offer out there. And as a matter of fact, he described it as by far the best offer out there. Now, apparently somebody had a future first-rounder out there, but it wasn't as good as a second-rounder, because the future first-rounder could have been half a decade from now.
It was like down the line.
Yeah, way down the line.
We heard it was the Rams.
Yeah, we heard it was the Rams.
You want me to – hold up. I can take the car now and I ain't got to pay you for 2-3 years.
Right. But the thing about it is we already knew the Rams don't have a first-round pick until, I don't know, the next 25? Time Haley's Comet comes around.
CG will be walking by then.
The danger of me saying that, not knowing the last time it was here, because I know it's every 75 years or whatever. I think it has come around in my lifetime, though. So I still think it's probably like Bobby Bonilla might still be getting paid by the Mets, but that'd be about it.
So, hey, that day is coming up soon, is it not?
Mm-hmm.
Bobby Bonilla Day. What a finesse. What a finesse, man.
Isn't it July 1st every year? Bobby Bonilla Day?
I think that's right.
Yeah.
I think that's right, yeah. Cliff McAfee watching 104.5 his own TV on Periscope. I think Shannon Sharp got that deal done. No, he didn't. But
Shannon Sharp better worry about it.
All Shannon Sharp did was take something public that they wanted to keep in-house and with the teams that they were negotiating with.
Yeah.
And honestly, we have not said it this plainly, but we were talking about it in the green room yesterday. I don't like doing this. Shannon Sharp should be fired. Shannon Sharp should be without a job today.
The way he exposed Falcons, NFL, and Julio the way he did.
Well, and then made light of it later on.
Yeah, and then joking about it and all this kind of stuff. He should be fired.
It's unprofessional.
He won't be, but he should be fired.
He won't be, but wild situation, man. Very wild.
Tyrekus, what's going on?
What's up, Ty?
What's up, boss?
Hey.
So check this out, man. I really think what I'm really worried about, man, is this coaching staff. Can this new offensive coordinator put this offense together? You got so many weapons. Can you dial up the right plays? Can you put the pieces to the puzzle together? And I'm worried about Julio Jones' health. You know, down 16 games, fans got to understand, man. A lot of fans thinking it's a race. They got to realize this is a marathon, man. Mm-hmm. You got to stay healthy 16 games. But I'm gonna hang up and listen to you guys.
Yeah, very good point though about the coaching staff. Is it too much, Jay, Shafe, listeners? I mean, just in general, though, as far as the track record of Mike Vrabel, the people he's brought in have either gotten other jobs in similar situations or better jobs. Here's a guy in the last, 5 years, got 2 OCs who are now head coaches. Like, that's at least on the offensive side. I don't know if it's the system they just got in place and you just follow this cookie-cutter system, or is he finding bright guys to be able to get the job done? I'm not going to doubt Todd Downing, but when you know what you have and this is your first year on the job, as far as the Titans go. He's done it with the Raiders. Also, it was the first time, Derek Carr had a Pro Bowl season too, was under his tenure in with the Oakland Raiders at the time. But 2-star receivers, 2 number ones, a all-pro running back, a Pro Bowl quarterback, and a solid offensive line. And you still got to find roles for Josh Reynolds, Dez Fitzpatrick, Racey McMath, Ferkser. It's a lot to balance. It's a matter of can he or how will he manage what's going on. Like I said, I went from one coordinator to another, one good one to a good one also, from Bruce Arians to Todd Haley. What Todd Haley did, though, with having a franchise quarterback in place, he kept as much as he could the same as we needed to. We adjusted to protect Ben more, but Todd doesn't need to do a whole lot. And I'm not saying not do his job, but he don't need to reinvent this offense.
Titans fans, get ready. Geoff Schwartz joins us after the commercial break. We'll get his thoughts on Julio, what it means, how he looks at the AFC. Also, Aaron Rodgers, not going to be part of mandatory minicamp.
Violence.
Willing to take the money. Does that indicate he's going to leave, or are they just digging in here because he can afford to lose $93,000? And a couple of your thoughts as well. We disagree. Let's just say that. Casey on YouTube, y'all get off Shannon. Stop saying that. No.
Be accountable.
Mr. Gardaki, I don't think Shannon hurt anyone. I don't know why everyone is crying about it. We're crying about it because it's one of the most disrespectful things you could possibly do.
Imagine calling your homeboy and having if you call me off air and we're going to talk a whole lot different.
Yeah, of course. The conversations we have in the green room are
way different.
There's a lot of inside stuff. There's a lot of things that are just not okay to bring on the air.
If we're talking about codes, people who say this is wrong, did Shannon break a code when Julio hopped on that phone?
Yes.
Yes, he did.
1,000% yes. And he messed with his money in some ways. He could have messed with his money. He messed with the integrity of the league. And he messed with the Atlanta Falcons franchise.
And hasn't the NFL kind of like dogged folks for trying to mess with the Shield?
I certainly would think so. Geoff Schwartz joins us. We'll get his take on that too as well. He's next. JMart and Ramon, 104.5 The Zone.
Every great Titans moment can be found here. Your home for Titans football and the flagship of Titans radio, 104.5 The Zone.
Hey, if you got a wet basement or a crawl space, I want you to call United Structural Systems. I want you to do it today because the longer you let this thing go, the worse it could be for you. I've been telling you about these guys since the fall because they've served Middle Tennessee for over 25 years, helping over now 20,000 satisfied residential customers and counting. Not just but the go-to company when it comes to foundation repair and waterproofing. So if you got a wet basement or crawl space, you don't have to put up with that. The water intrusion, the moisture, it could give you all sorts of problems down the road. First off, the air you're breathing in is gross. But what it can do to your house and how costly it can be, it's not going to get cheaper. I can promise you that. So you want to get it fixed today, not tomorrow. It could be poor drainage. Could be a plumbing leak. Maybe it's surface water flowing over your walls. It could be underwater pressure forcing water into your basement. There's a lot of different potential causes for it, but there's one solution. United Structural Systems. They'll come out, find you have a wet basement and crawl space. They'll tell you exactly what's going on. They'll give you the plan to fix it. Then you make the decision. You decide to move forward, and you don't pay a dime until that work's done and you're satisfied. So call for that free estimate. Again, you got nothing to lose here at all, but a lot to gain for your home and your peace of mind. Find out how much it's going to cost to fix from the people I trust. Here's your phone number, 615-227-2275. That's 227-2275, or go to USSTN.com and tell them JMart sent you. United Structural Systems.
This summer, take a trip to where it's hot, 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 and find yourself on white hot sands beneath a flaming hot sun, enjoying a blazing hot summer. Or if that's not an option, take the
JMart and Ramon, 104.5 The Zone, powered by all Four Seasons Garage Doors here in Nashville. 11-year NFL veteran Ramon Foster's on Twitter at Ramon Foster. I am at JMart Radio. Schaefer's at Schaefer on Sports The Show. You can find us at JMart and Ramon. You can find this guy at Geoff Schwartz. You can listen to him on Fox Sports Radio, as well as the Geoff Schwartz is Smarter Than You podcast. A bunch of Draft Academy stuff and who knows what else. Geoff, what's going on, brother?
Not much. You know, it's a quieter time of the year. Obviously, outside the Julio Jones trade, it's nice to, just to have some time to get ready for football season. It comes on strong in August.
Yeah, well, we're around 90 days, somewhere around there, away from that first Thursday night game. We all can't wait to get there. So, Julio to the Titans. Your observations a day or so after that news has broken, 2 days or so, now that we've had time to process it. And, of course, there was a honeymoon here in this city yesterday, and deservedly so. But how do you feel about the Titans with this addition?
Well, it's obviously a very big add. Julio Jones is very talented. He obviously will bring a lot to the offense, and it's a good get for Titans, especially, with the price they got him for. But are they really that different from last year? I mean, that's kind of my overall view of where they're at, right? You lost Davis, but you add Jones, and Jones is a better player, but their odds didn't move very much to win the South. They didn't move. Their win total didn't change. Their odds to win the Super Bowl moved a tiny bit, but not, didn't make them any overwhelming favorite or anything like that. I kind of just feel like they're going to come and go next year as their defense allows them, right? So they had Autry in the offseason to rush the passer, but didn't really address it very much in the draft. I think they did a great job adding cornerbacks, right? And Fairley and Elijah Molden might have been the best value outside of Trey Smith of any player in the draft. So that was a good job they did there. I mean, they had a good offseason, but I don't know. I just, when trades happen like this, we get this overwhelming, hype train that happens on social media. And then a few of us in the next day or two are like, I don't think this really matters as much. But again, look, you need a number 2 wide receiver, and you got him, or number 1, I guess. I mean, it depends on how you want to look at it. So, look, it's a good trade, but in the end, I don't know how this makes them much different than last year's team.
As far as you said not making it much difference, so are you comparing, let's say, Corey Davis to to Julio Jones in this sense? Like they should have just kept the other guy?
Well, the question is, right, do you keep the younger guy and pay him the money you're paying Julio, or do you not? Now, one thing that's not been talked about, I think, very much in this equation, the reason why Julio went for a second-round pick is you're going to have to pay him, right? Like, he has one more year after this left on his deal for, I think, $11 million. He's not playing next year for $11 million. So if he plays well this year, the Titans have to pay him a lot of money. So would you rather pay Corey Davis at his age or Julio Jones at his age is the question, right? Again, Julio Jones is a better wide receiver. He's had a better career, probably a Hall of Fame career. And so I'm not arguing that he's better. That Corey Davis is better than him. But if you're looking at age and what you get as far as value with a contract, I don't know. I don't know if that is. Do you want to pay Julio Jones for 3 or 4 more years? It's not a 1-year rental, in my opinion. This is, you signed him to be part of the process. Here's the thing that not nobody, but a lot of people aren't talking about. I think it's very important. It's the offensive philosophy for me, which really holds me back from giving the Titans a lot of preseason love. They're 30th in pass attempts and 2nd in rushing attempts. You're not winning many Super Bowls doing that anymore, right? That's not really the way it's going down. And the offensive philosophy has to change. If you have these 2 wide receivers, you have to be more of a pass-first offense. I get it. Derrick Henry is great. You got 2,000 yards. But how'd that work in the playoffs for you? How'd that work 2 years ago against the Chiefs? Like, you got to be able to pass the ball more efficiently in a regular passing game, not a play action passing game, just a regular downfield passing attack, quick passing game. And now you lost your OC, who went to Atlanta, obviously. So what's your new OC going to be, right? And there's a lot of just questions, I think, with the Titans of offensive philosophy, and that kind of holds me back when it comes to kind of the hype for the Titans. I think their roster on defense isn't very good right now. It could be good at the end of the year if the young corners play well, and then offensive philosophy.
So interesting. A couple of things there. you would think if you've got Julio, you are going to utilize the passing game more often, and maybe you're able to extend Derrick Henry's career a little bit because you don't have to use him as much. He may not have 2,000 yards, but he might not need it. It's possible Ty Downing will actually balance that offense out. And then my only pushback to the idea that it's not a one-year rental and you're going to end up having to pay him is, yeah, but if you get to the spot where you have to pay him, it probably means he's had a really good year for you, right? So if he goes out there and balls out, then you should that's probably a good result that you've already had. And whatever you have to do to make it work, that's why you brought him here, was to do that in the first place, right?
Yeah, but are you getting he's going to be 30? He'll be 33 heading into next season, right? I'm just looking at his age old, right?
February.
I mean, you want to give a wide receiver a 2 or 3 more guaranteed years at that age, especially with some of the injury concerns you've had with Julio. I just don't know if that's great. Now, back to the philosophy point, because this is important. So this is kind of my point about Julio, Corey Davis, the offense, is you had 2 great wide receivers last year, right? So, and why now all of a sudden, because you add Julio, does your whole offensive philosophy change, right? Your head coach is a defensive-minded head coach. Defensive-minded head coaches tend to favor running the ball, more conservative nature of your offense. And yes, they hit a lot of home runs via the play-action pass, but again, that's a great formula. I love play-action pass. It's a great way to win a lot of football games on offense. But, again, I go back to the playoffs now, 2 years in a row, and teams have kind of figured out, if we can kind of slow the run game down, keep them out of play-action pass territory, they're not going to be as efficient moving the ball, right? And so, again, are they now going to switch philosophies? So they added Julio? I don't know. You could have done this last year, or the year before that. The guys were on the roster to do that. And, again, now you have a new OC, and maybe they do move in a direction of more passing the ball. But, I mean, I guess got to see it first, right? Because, again, a lot of defensive-minded head coaches love to kind of be that conservative, pound the ball on offense, hit a couple shots. And, again, I don't know if that's really a formula for long-term Super Bowl success.
Jeff, you got a good amount of people coming at you on Zone TV this morning.
I know you're surprised.
I just want you to know.
Shocking.
The love is there, man. I need you to know that the love is there.
I just do not care. I
know.
Look, there's plenty. You can probably go to TitansLovePage.com and go to your message boards and find everyone to tell you how great everything is. And I'll just keep telling you how it really is, because, look, the AFC is very simple, in my opinion, is the Chiefs to the top, right, with their offensive line now. I mean, They've lost 2 playoff games in 3 years with Pat Mahomes. They lost in the Patriots in overtime, and they lost without an offensive line. Are you telling me that you have a healthy Chiefs offensive line with their with Andy Reid's brilliance and Pat Mahomes and their defense, which is just good enough, and are you going to beat them in Kansas City in AFC Championship game? The Titans aren't, not with that defense. To me, it's the Bills and I think the Browns actually the second best team in the AFC right now. So, it's fine. I mean, you can be angry with me, but there's an upper tier. It's the Chiefs. The next tier is the Bills and the Browns, and then below that is the next 4 or 5 teams that are trying to vie, to be good enough to go to the AFC Championship game.
So as far as this Julio move goes for the Titans, we've seen a bunch of just conversation about the Colts is still their division to win as far as the AFC South go. Does Julio really change that, or how do you view it also, Jeff?
I don't like the Colts, so maybe Titans fans will like me now. I don't really get this Carson Wentz thing.
Me either.
At best, he goes from worst quarterback in the NFL last year to average. I mean, that's a 15-spot jump in 1 year, which would be really good. I mean, he's not going to become 2017 Carson Wentz. And if you look at his numbers, by the way, 2017 feels like the extreme outlier year in his career, not the norm in his career, right? That feels like, wow, he got great on third down, great in the red zone. That's not really what his career has been. So you have a Colts team who, right now, left tackle still concerned. I know Eric Fisher's there, but when's he going to be able to play? So you didn't even address that at all in the draft, and a great year for offensive tackles. Carson Wentz, I mean, the best you're going to get is average. Well, guess what? Phillip Rivers last year was just a tick above average. So, and I think that you can make an argument they should have beat the Bills in the wild card game. But, that wasn't a Super Bowl caliber team. I'm not sure Carson Wentz makes them Super Bowl caliber team. I just think people look at the Titans and see kind of the changes that were made on defense. Again, not really adding to the pass rush, which was a huge concern last year. Young cornerbacks, again, they could be good by the end of the season. But what about the first 8 weeks of the year? I don't really buy anyone in this division. But I guess if I just pick someone to win, it would be the Titans, because I don't trust the Colts. I don't trust Carson Wentz at all. We love like reclamation projects in the NFL, but they really don't happen very often, right? I mean, Alex Smith going from being below average in San Francisco to being obviously very good in Kansas City. That's not the norm. Right? Josh Allen's improvement, guys, from year 2 to 3 is not normal in the NFL. Once you kind of go bad, it's hard to come back. I mean, you can talk about Ryan Tannehill in Tennessee, obviously, as someone. He wasn't that bad in Miami, though. He just hurt in Miami. Now he's healthy in Tennessee. So I just can't see Carson Wentz becoming an upper echelon quarterback again. And if he's average, your team's not winning anything.
So let me ask you this. Geoff Schwartz is joining us, by the way. He's on Twitter at Geoff Schwartz. You can comment to him there if you would like. You've heard a lot when you're talking about Julio coming here. Some people have talked about Randy Moss going to the Patriots, but my partner, my very intelligent partner, Ramon Foster, yesterday we were in the green room talking about it, and he asked me what age was T.O. when he went to Philadelphia. And I thought he was somewhere around 28, but he was actually 31. But I actually have looked at it further and said, okay, what if it's T.O. going to Dallas? He left. He played at age 32 for Philadelphia, then went to Dallas for 3 years and proceeded to have 1,180, 1,355, and 1,052 yards in 3 years with the Cowboys. I look at Julio as a 3-year experiment max. Maybe it's a 2 to 3 year deal because you're trying to maximize a Derrick Henry window and an A.J. Brown window and all these things where you can still manage all of this. I look at it that way and say, if you get something close to what T.O. gave the Dallas Cowboys when he went there in terms of production, this would seem to be worth it, would it not?
It's only worth it if you win a Super Bowl, right? So, again, the trade compensation is great. Julio's a great player. That's all good. I agree with you there. If you get T.O. production, but is that leading to you beating the Chiefs? Right? That's the barometer. Are you going to beat the Chiefs, presumably in Arrowhead Stadium in late January when it's 11 degrees outside? Is this team going to Kansas City and beating the Chiefs? That's the barometer for the AFC. It's very simple, right? Again, the Chiefs had a weakness, their offensive line. They fixed that weakness with a zillion players. Like, they have depth unheard of in the NFL now in 2021 as far as on the offensive line, right? So that's the barometer. And I'm not sure that Julio Jones makes the Titans now a team where I'm like, you know what? They're going to Kansas City and they're beating the Chiefs.
Okay.
Again, that's why the Browns look at their pass rush, their secondary. They added 3 secondary pieces this offseason, 2 proven veterans, plus a cornerback. I love their offensive line. They have skill position players. I'm not sold on Baker Mayfield as far as like being maybe that guy to do that. Now, they played better in Kansas City than we give him credit for in the playoff game, just because I think the play at the end of the first half, if he scores, that game is much different, obviously. I think Browns even might be up 17-16 at that point, somewhere around there. And so, again, that's my barometers. Julio might get 1,200 yards, but, again, are we still running the ball, 400 times this season? That to me is not – and, look, the offensive line, Luan's back. Saffold, will be there. I love the left side. Right tackle got some question marks there. I just don't know if they're quite there to beat the Chiefs yet.
Okay. Well, no, look, here's the thing. You have to give yourself the best opportunity to beat them, right? Mm-hmm. You look at Damian Lillard and what just happened in Portland. They never got him the help that he needed. They kept McCollum way too long, and he's out in the first round. Luka Doncic, the question right now, he's about to sign a rookie supermax contract, most likely, but they've got to get help around him because you can see it. Sometimes you can't even win with 2 guys in the NBA. You were playing in the Jordan era. It's possible you end up Karl Malone and John Stockton. It's possible you end up Charles Barkley, but you do have to try. And if you have the opportunity when you need a wide receiver pretty daggone badly, worse than anybody else in the league that at least could consider themselves a contender, this just seems like a move you have to make. And then you've already paid Bud Dupree. You brought him in. You bring in Danico Autry. That hopefully is going to help the rest of your linebackers and the guys on the front lines. I just think, look, it's an arms race to try to beat the Golden State Warriors from 3 years ago, but you don't just not make moves because they're good. I know they're the bar, but you have to do whatever you do. So my question would be this. If you don't pay Julio, Geoff, there was nobody that you could pay that was going to help you any more than Julio. So don't you just try the best you can to win?
Yeah, I'm fine with I'm fine with the move. I'm just saying that I don't think it really changes how I felt about them for the season. Like the move is go for it, right? And by the way, Dame Lillard, I think the Lakers should trade for him. I'm not biased at all, but the Lakers definitely should try to trade for Dame. And if they don't trade for Luka too, I mean that would be tougher, I think. But go for it. Look, I guess I'm fine with them making this move. Again, I just don't know if it makes them any different in my eyes than they were, 2 days ago, as far as the chances to win the NFC South. Like, being 32nd in pressure rate, being 32nd on third down on defense, like that has to be fixed by a lot. I mean, like that was what held them back last year. And I don't really like the young guys. I mean, yeah, they can be good. We'll see. We don't really know, but that's what holds. So I just don't. I can't be all in on them until I see changes on defense. Again, I think their offense will be fine. I just don't know again if their entire team is good enough to beat the Chiefs.
So basically, this move is just a nice old pat on the head. Like, good job, guys. Is that what it was?
I mean, yeah. For me, yeah, good for them. They did a good job. Again, it doesn't change my opinion on whether they have a chance to beat the Chiefs or not.
But at the same time, you do agree that does this give them you don't think this gives them a better chance? All of what they've done this offseason.
If they come out next year and go from second in rushing attempts to 15th in rushing attempts and throw the ball a lot more, I'll come on in week 9. I'll probably tell you guys, hey, you know what? I like their chances a lot better. But it's all those things combined together.
Well, I mean, it's fair because one thing that you will do is admit it later because you were totally off the Tannehill bandwagon. And then you made the point, okay, that ended up being a pretty good deal for the Tennessee Titans. So, I mean, you will evaluate. You're not Skip Bayless out here.
I'm just very curious about the OC thing. Like, I'm skeptical. Like, I'm trying to think in my head of a situation where you kind of had this high-powered OC who, look, he changed everything for the Titans, right? He made the move to Ryan Tannehill, which, obviously over Mariota. But that's a big difference to change a guy like that who was so successful. And I'm trying to think in my head of defensive coaches who kind of lost their OCs. A lot of times it's like offensive coaches that the head coaches that kind of have their OC be hired by somewhere else. We look at the Colts and Frank Reich. I mean, a lot of people point to Frank Reich leaving Carson Wentz, and again, that's offensive-minded Doug Peterson leaving, and that's the reason why Carson Wentz wasn't as good. I mean, I just think it's really tough to duplicate success with a new guy. So I'm curious how that works. That to me is the biggest question mark besides the defense. And I just think that we assume the best, but I don't know if that's always the way to look at the changing of the OC like this.
Well, the good news is the games do get played at some point. So we actually will get answers to some of these questions.
I would hope they do. I mean, I would be disappointed if they did. I feel like we're going in a direction of games being played. I'm just happy we got fans back. I mean, watching this SEC baseball and like the fans in the crowd going nuts, it's been a lot of fun. Hockey playoffs, got the crowd in the hockey playoffs, right? PGA Championship. NBA kind of been mixed with the fandom. Some places still kind of locked down, but it's been nice to see.
Yeah, look, it's good to feel like America again. Geoff, always a pleasure, brother. All the best. We'll talk to you again real soon.
Appreciate you, Geoff.
Talk to you guys later. As Titans fans, I love you guys. You're sensitive, but you're a lot of fun.
Geoff does not care, man. If you see what's going on 104.5 Zone TV, lit. My man doesn't care.
It's on fire. And
does not care. We'll react to it, and response to Schwartz on lines 1 and 2. We knew. Let's just say this, ladies and gentlemen, as we go to break. We know what we're doing around these radio parts. Be right back. JMart and Ramon, 104.5 The Zone.
We do not care.
The Titans have clout.
But we're talking about clout. Titans have clout, but it also, to have a reputation like they seem to be building, means something. Means something to guys who are coming in. Means something that they play in the city of Nashville.
The Buck Rising Show. Today, starting at 10 a.m. on 104.5 The Zone.
Hey, it's Schaefer with JMart and Ramon. Score a major payday with BetMGM. It's the best time to sign up for the king of sportsbooks because they're giving new customers a shot at an easy $100. Register using code Schaefer100 and win $100 in free bets when you place a $1 moneyline wager on the Braves or Phillies. And if either team hits a home run, you win regardless of your bet's outcome. Whether you're raising the stakes on basketball and hockey playoffs or wagering on your favorite baseball team, BetMGM is always ready for action. Enjoy innovative parlay selection builders, daily promotions, boosted odds specials, and more. Download the app or go to betmgm.com and use code Schaefer100 to win $100 when you bet $1 on the Braves or Phillies and either team hits a home run. New customer offer. Paid-in free bets. Must be 21 years or older. Must be in Tennessee to bet. Visit BetMGM.com for full list of terms and conditions. For problem gambling support, call the Tennessee Red Line, 800-889-9789.
Searching for your next vehicle? You've certainly noticed a lack of selection and inventory at dealerships, not at Music City Autoplex. While others are shrinking inventory, Music City Autoplex has added over $3 million of late model pre-owned vehicles, defying market trends in order to serve you. This determination drives Music City Autoplex to consistently outsell competition month after month and makes them the very best option for your next used vehicle. Come see why Music City Autoplex is the uncommon dealership. Go to MusicCityAutoplex.com or in person, 2430 Gallatin Pike North.
Finding great candidates to hire can be like, well, trying to find a needle in a haystack. Sure, you can post your job to some job board, but then all you can do is hope the right person comes along, which is why you should try ZipRecruiter for free at ziprecruiter.com/radio. ZipRecruiter doesn't depend on candidates finding you.
104.5 The Zone. Man, y'all love Geoff Schwartz. Loving-year NFL veteran, Ball for Life, Ramon Foster, Jonathan Schaefer, Jason Martin on Twitter at JMart and Ramon. You can hit up Geoff at Geoff Schwartz. Let's go to cousin Andrew in Portland. What's going on?
What's up, Andrew?
Man, let me just get to it. That was ridiculous. Okay, look, I understand we have question marks around Julio Jones, so I'm just going to bypass that. The fact that he had knocked the running game and the opportunity to use the style of play that we have to win a Super Bowl is not possible. Did he sleep under a rock in 2019? Derrick Henry led us to the AFC Championship game and almost won against the Chiefs. Oh, guess what? In Arrowhead, Jeff. Focus, buddy. Listen, we also upgraded the defense. Clowney and Vic Beasley, no. This year we brought in Bud Dupree, Danico Autry. I understand the third down woes in our defense last year, but if you were going to tell me on paper, I get it, we got to play the games, but if you're going to tell me that you are not seeing an improved defense, I love Jeff, but come on, man. That was trash. So, Shafe, on my way out, please play Jeff. My wife's dropped. Thank you.
Kiss my ass.
1 point.
Go ahead, Jay. Breathe, dog.
Well, you heard me mention the defense to Jeff because I didn't think
you
he was
tried
fair about
to.
the defense.
Yeah.
It's like he didn't realize. It's like he didn't want to comment on Bud Dupree and Danico Autry. Those are two moves I think really matter because I think they're also going to make Landry better. I hope they make Evans better. I certainly think it's going to help out Big Jeff and everybody up front. I think the pass rush is going to be a lot better, and that makes a difference.
Yep.
The one point that I do agree with, not that Julio is Corey Davis. That's an awful take, right? But Corey Davis almost had 1,000 yards receiving last year.
That's true.
And, of course, A.J. had what he had. How much better is Julio going to do than around 1,000, 1,100 yards, something like that? Like, in terms of production and yards, Corey gave you a great year last year in that category. Now, Julio changes the game around him.
Yeah.
And he is a far better – I'm not saying they're the same player. I'm saying just from pure production standpoint. Julio's not going out there with 2,000 yards. He might have a couple hundred more, maybe, but he's still got A.J., who hopefully is healthier, and it's A.J.'s numbers that probably take an uptick this year, or that I think you need to take an uptick. It gives you more balance there. I certainly think you're in better position right now, but let's not forget Corey did have a really solid statistical season last year for the Tennessee Titans.
Yeah, we can't take that.
I'll go to – wait, no, line 2 says anonymous. I don't know if we should take that one yet. Okay, we'll go to break. I see Kozo Mike's chilling, but we don't have time for his music and his phone call. So we'll wait. We'll bring him in. By the way,
back.
If you thought that Jeff was triggering, wait until you hear Dr. Eric Eager.
If you think you're lonely now.
Yesterday, we chose joy with the guests. Today, we choose violence. We'll pivot when we come back. We'll take more of your phone calls. You can continue to react. But we do need to ask the question about the defense and about where the Titans stand relative to that and how important. Who's more important? Maybe here's a poll question. Who's more important, Julio Jones or Bud Dupree? Be right back. JMart and Ramon, 104.5 The Zone.
You really think I'll be listening to you? I ain't listening to you.
There's a man going round taking names.
And his name is Julio Jones.
Yes, sir.
He joins 3 others in two-tone blue.
Figaro! He's Ryan Tannehill.
JMart and Ramon, what's happening? Welcome in. I'll tell you what's happening. Geoff Schwartz triggered Nashville.
You, Aaron Rodgers.
Dr. Eric Eager, Pro Football Focus, will join us in the next segment.
You, Aaron Rodgers.
Yep.
All in the same.
There's so much stuff coming about Geoff right now. I'm trying to find a top observation, but all of it is just hate towards Geoff. Oh my goodness. Oh Lord. You just let it play because you know what it's going to be. Cuzzo Mike's in Cleveland. What's up, fam?
Fam, bam, what's good?
Yo.
Morning, Cuzzo.
Morning. Yo, getting real tired of this Corey Davidson stuff, man. Real tired of it. And I'm gonna tell you why.
Come on,
Cuzzo. Let's keep it trill. Let's keep it all the way trill, like Pimp C and Bun B. Let's keep it trill out here. Corey Davis had a fluke. I might piss some people off, or will. Corey Davidson had a fluke contract year that he finally stepped to the plate and started actually catching the ball. All 2-3 years before that, he was dropping them, had alligator arms, wasn't running routes good or nothing. That's why that last year it was like, okay, Corey Davis, he's arrived, he's here. That's not worth $15 million. What's worth $15 million is Julio Jones, who has caught balls, ran good routes, been aggressive, blocked, even tackled defensive players when they got interceptions, tackled them like he was on defense. That's $15 million worth. The comparison of the two ain't there. It ain't fair. Now, if Geoff want to say, oh, your defense got to prove it, he's absolutely right. That's the thing. If we keeping it real, if we keeping it a buck, that's the thing that's making the Titans have to go prove it. Now, national media, forget them. Like Cousin Andrew's wife say, kiss my ass. We don't care. Straight up. We don't care about you, because anytime you pick us, we fall short. We do. Anytime anytime the national media is looking for the Titans to prove that, hey, we've arrived in your eyes, we didn't fall short, but anytime the Titans, my squad, needed to squad up and bang out to get into the playoffs, they bang out. And they never disappoint us fans. So, hell yeah, we're going to ride with the squad every day, all day. Forget national media. We got the zone, baby. JMart Ramon, 3HL, Blaine and Mickey. I don't know about Doug Drowning.
Yeah,
I'm going to leave him out there in the water. All right, so
I don't know about duck drowning, which I was just like, what does this mean? And then Buck's like, what does this mean? I remember seeing this exchange last week, and Mike explained it. He's like, you're not Buck, you're ducking, and you're not rising, you're drowning.
That's a deep. They beef is real, man.
Yeah,
I know whose side Mike is choosing between Don and Buck.
Yeah, I think he's on Team Babs.
He's on Team Babs.
Pretty sure he's on Team Babs. Top observation coming from, I'm actually not sure which platform. Or no, okay, it's from YouTube. Jarrell Casey, Logan Ryan, Wesley Woodyard. That's why our defense was so bad last year. Did we replace those guys? You didn't have leaders is what you're talking about. That's what matters right there.
Yeah.
Ron Slay, LMAO, I love Cuzzo Mike.
Yeah, Cuzzo Mike go in, man.
I'm just going to read this blindly. I know who this is now. Got it. I had to read this to figure it out. Let's go to Cuzzo Dumb, the guy who called the bomb threat in and ended up spending 12 years in jail. Cuzzo, what's up?
Cuzzo Dumb, morning.
Man, what's up, guys? How's it going?
One hell of an entrance.
I just called in for one reason and one reason alone. I just would like to pass, the torch to Geoff Schwartz, I figure he could be Cuzzo Dumb for a little while, because that's just absolutely crazy, man. I think he's been hanging out in that Chuck E. Cheese suit with Jonas Knox a little too much.
Oh, Lord.
Just saying.
Yikes. Cuzzo Dumb passes it off.
He passed it off.
Oh, man. John Michael J on Twitch, watching 104.5 The Zone. Agreed. I think Geoff Schwartz is a proponent of 7-on-7 with flags for the NFL.
All I'm saying is there's a lot of people in here who are congratulating Cuzzo Mike, man, for bashing.
I'm excited
Twitch.
about this. Oh, my gosh. Matt Moon, are you serious, bro?
Hey, Jeff,
Can we read that on the air?
Hold up. Let me see what Matt Moon just said, man. Oh, my God. No.
I don't know if we can read that.
Go to YouTube TV to see what Matt Moon got going on, man.
This guy who called Jeff trash is now online, too. Mr. Caples. What's up, Caples?
Yeah, I really just tried to ruin my morning this morning, right? My good ride home. I'm listening to my boys, and I'm all happy, and then that guy had to get on the radio. Yo, JMart, sit on your hands and let me get about 2 minutes to say what I got to say, okay? Yesterday, I was telling all of our Titans fans, be happy and don't go overboard. But today, we got to get defensive because all these media people sound like Geoff Schwartz today. Like Julio is not a difference maker in this offense. And I just want to run y'all a quick little thing real quick. Did we not beat the Chiefs at home a couple of years ago? Mm-hmm. We did. Did not Derrick Henry not run all over them? We did. And in the playoffs, JMart, you can answer this question. Now hang up and listen to you. I just want y'all to understand, in the playoffs, Derrick Henry was running all over them again, had 60-some yards in 3 quarters. And we fell behind and had to start passing the ball. So for folks to keep saying the Chiefs stopped him, get your facts straight. Like, it's war today. We just not taking this today. Our team, we going to tighten up this season, and we going to show them. But to say that Julio is not a difference maker for this offense, man, y'all can go kick rocks. And that's the G-rated version, I'm going to say. I'm out.
Caples is out. One question, Caples. You're not on air, but I'm going to ask this question. Who would you rather have, Derrick Henry or Patrick Mahomes? Sorry. Hashtag. I know I just chose violence with that question, but I know what you're saying. I understand that, but who would you rather have?
A quarterback is always going to win.
The reason why the Chiefs are favored is because Patrick Mahomes is Steph Curry.
But
he's not Steph Curry with a hurt Kevin Durant and Klay Thompson out for the year and not having the roster. He's Steph Curry with a healthy KD, with Klay Thompson, with Draymond Green, with role players. Kansas City, and we're going to talk about this later, Moan, when we look at wide receiver duos. Mm-hmm. Kansas City may still have the best one in the NFL. If they don't, maybe they've got number 2.
This always goes back into the conversation, though, when it comes down to you mentioned Derrick Henry versus Patrick Mahomes. Okay, that's cool. I like that, too. Both of them are dynamic superstars, face of the NFL at their positions easily, I think. Patrick Mahomes, number 1. Derrick Henry's top 3 should be number 1, but of course you got there's a group of running backs that are the face of the NFL. Derrick Henry's in that. But this goes to you saying Kansas City kind of forced the Titans to throw the ball. Well, why did they do it? Well, it's because of Patrick Mahomes. And the other side of this, you got to I like Tannehill, okay? I do, Tannehill. I like him. But the more and more we talk about this conversation of why and why not, it goes back to him by the fans, by the national media. It goes back to Tannehill. And I'm in a conversation with 2 of my best friends in the world, and Rob Ayers asked the question, is this fake news or is this real? When the last 26 games between Patrick Mahomes and Ryan Tannehill, not comparing them to the people, Patrick Mahomes and Ryan Tannehill, 2 separate dudes. But men lie, women lie, numbers don't.
But numbers can be skewed.
But they can be. But what I'm saying is this: if he's comparable at least to one of the best in the league, is he not good enough, or is it because I got to ask the question? Is it because he was so bad in Miami that it's hard to believe that Ryan Tannehill can get you over the hump? Like, which one is it with Tannehill? Is he or is he not?
That's he is for me. He is for me.
He is for me, and it always goes back to that.
With that offense, it is. I think he is. I think if you go a couple spots down from him in terms of quarterback rankings, you can't win a Super Bowl unless everything is right. Now, we haven't even seen Tannehill without a pretty solid offense here because he's always had Henry. He's always had exactly right. Yeah, I don't know that any quarterback necessarily wins without a decent supporting cast, and both of those guys have that. I'm just saying, yeah, Derrick Henry was running over the Chiefs. My question, just kind of going back to Caples, was Yeah, but Patrick Mahomes blew that game open with the run down the left sideline in the second quarter. Kansas City came back from double digits down in all of those games because they have a cheat code at quarterback, and one of the 10, maybe even like 7 to 10 greatest offensive minds in the history of the NFL in Andy Reid, who has always evolved based on his talent, and it was a perfect match with Mahomes and with the talent that they had put on that roster.
But I'll say this, that Patrick Mahomes run goes down to, you remember Wes pinpointed out who should have made that tackle. I won't because that's not my teammate. But Wes pinpointed it out, hey, so-and-so should have made that tackle instead of trying to grab.
True, but it doesn't matter. You can woulda, coulda, shoulda till the end of time.
Players make plays. Playmakers make plays. Okay.
Right. But no, your point's not wrong. I'm just saying, like, yeah, somebody didn't make the tackle, though, and Mahomes made the play.
And Wes called that out, too.
And the difference in the Super Bowl was what? Jimmy G blew a third down to Emmanuel Sanders, and Patrick Mahomes drilled Tyreek Hill with a pass on third down and ended up winning that game. Mahomes creates a spot that overcomes a lot of other mistakes.
Got to bring Wes back.
Dr. Eric Eager of Pro Football Focus, who was one of the guys that was being kind of quote tweeted a lot on Sunday after the Julio news. It's going to be an interesting conversation. Will it be, here's a poll, more triggering or less triggering than the Geoff Schwartz conversation with Eric Eager coming up? What do you think, Moan?
I say more.
It might be. More. It might be because I know what's coming. All right, Poindexter, nobody cares about you, egghead. JMart and Ramon, 104.5 The Zone.
You, Aaron Rodgers.
Getting you fired up every weekday afternoon.
I'm telling you, man, I'm fired up now.
I know you are telling the truth, too. Blaine and Mickey, this afternoon, 1 to 3 on 104.5 The Zone.
Hey, it's JMart, Mortgage Investors Group. I want to tell you about them real quick because, and I've been telling you about the home court advantage for a long time, but this is how you can get into the dream home that you want with less money out of your pocket. Mortgage Investors Group, they just get this. I don't know if it's time for you to buy your first home. If it is, MIG can take you through the steps and make it so easy for you. But if it's your fifth home, it doesn't really matter here. But let me tell you what the Home Court Advantage program does. It provides you with an exclusive 15-year fixed-rate second mortgage of $7,500. That's big. It helps you with your down payment, your closing costs, your prepaids, sometimes even a portion of your insurance costs. And I mentioned, look, first-time home buyers, it's awesome. Home Court Advantage, that sets you up for success. But move-up buyers may also be eligible. Learn more about the Home Court Advantage program today at migonline.com. You can get the advice that you need there as well. Mortgage Investors Group committed to helping Tennesseans like you and your family fulfill your dreams of home ownership, even in a crowded market, even in a city everyone seems to be wanting to live in. You can still get it done, but you got to have the right coaching staff. And the right coaching staff is Mortgage Investors Group. Let them do the work for you. You'll be glad you did. Go to migonline.com. Again, that's migonline.com for the office nearest you, or text MIG to 31399. That's MIG to 31399 to get pre-qualified and get moving with the people I trust. My good friends at Mortgage Investors Group, Equal Housing Lender, license number 109111.
Genesis Diamond says hello to summer with the hottest offer of the season. 5 years, zero interest financing on any purchase with nothing down. It's happening now. You get Genesis Diamond's unbeatable price, pay nothing down, and spread your payments over 5 years with zero interest. Surprise your loved one with something memorable like a $3,000 eternity band for just $50 a month. A $12,000 engagement ring is just $200 a month. This offer makes anything affordable. Plus, everything's included. All fashion rings, every engagement ring mounting, diamond earrings, all new designer fashion jewelry, even all GIA certified diamonds. Whether you spend $3,000 or $300,000, you could get 5 years, zero interest financing. Celebrate summer, celebrate life, celebrate love. Don't miss this chance to get that beautiful piece of jewelry and take advantage of 5 years, zero interest financing with no money down. Now for a limited time only, and only at Genesis Diamonds, Green Hills and Cool Springs, on approved credit.
Score a major payday with BetMGM. Hey, it's Lucas Panzica from the Buck Rising Show and Blaine and Mickey. It's the best time to sign up for the king of sportsbooks because they're giving new customers a shot at an easy $100. Register using code LUCAS100 and win $100 in free bets when you place a $1 moneyline wager on the Braves or Phillies, and if either team hits a home run, you win, regardless of your bet's outcome. Whether you're raising the stakes on basketball and hockey playoffs or wagering on your favorite baseball team, BetMGM is always ready for action. Enjoy innovative parlay selection builders, daily promotions, boosted odds specials, and more. Download the app or go to BetMGM.com and use code LUCAS100 to win $100 when you bet $1 on the Braves or Phillies and either team hits a homer. New customer offer, paid in free bets. Must be 21 years or older. Must be in Tennessee to bet. Visit BetMGM.com for a full list of terms and conditions. For problem gambling support, call the Tennessee Red Line at 1-800-889-9789.
One of the most important
Hey, it's JMart and Ramon here on 104.5 The Zone. 11-year NFL veteran involved for life, Ramon Foster. $22-year Reader's Digest subscriber, Jonathan Schaefer.
Oh, wow. How many years?
22 and counting.
It's 29 years. Get it right.
My fault.
Oh, wow.
It was a very literate job.
Crazy. I used to read those when I was
What
younger.
happened, Shafe? You're a really literate child. I like the way you phrased that. What happened?
You, Aaron Rodgers.
That's what happened, huh?
Oh.
Hey, cool stories in those books, man.
Yeah, that's right. At JMart and Ramon on Twitter is where you can find us. Pro Football Focus at your guys, Mo.
Yeah, love them.
Can't wait for you to start working for them.
I would, seriously. We can have sessions. I told Palazzolo that. And Sam. It's like, hey, let's have some sit-down sessions.
Yet neither one of them took you up on your offer.
Only two people are going to get this joke, but one of them is in behind the glass. And so I'm programming for Jonathan Schaefer right now as well. Tell me Steve Palazzolo doesn't look like Kenny Omega's older brother.
I got to look up Kenny Omega real quick.
Much bigger, older brother.
Much bigger.
Much bigger. Eric, go back and tell him.
We welcome in a smart
Some
guy,
stars.
Dr. Eric Eager of Pro Football Focus. Eric, how are you this morning?
Guys, I think Steve looks more like Sidney Ponson. But that's just me.
Sidney Ponson looks him up right now.
He definitely also looks like Sam Monson's
Y'all
father.
are some idiots, man.
Sam Monson's babysitter. We'll go with that. We'll go with that. All right, Eric. So your comments Sunday were being quote tweeted by a lot of Titans fans. So we wanted to have you, honestly, just to break this down from your perspective. Yesterday, it was kind of a love fest with all the guests that we had on about Julio. But what was your thought about the acquisition and what Julio Jones could mean for the Tennessee Titans?
Well, I think the Julio Jones acquisition could be viewed as nothing but great for Tennessee. You know, it's when I sort of like took inventory of like what it meant to me, it felt like it was a move that probably saved Tennessee's offseason, because you look at, you know, I know that all these guys didn't necessarily play or play well, but you had to replace three corners. You had to, you know, you got Bud Dupree, who I think is, a pass, you know, among the free agent pass rushers, maybe not the best one. Obviously, Dennis Kelly at right tackle, you had Jonnu Smith and Corey Davis leaving, and then the biggest one, which I think, you know, this is the, you know, Arthur Smith leaving and being replaced by Todd Downing. That was a lot of negative things, I think, that happened in Tennessee. And Julio Jones gives the team the opportunity to sort of like reset expectations back to where they would have been had they not had those losses coming off of an AFC South title. So it was a good move for them. I think it was a necessary move for the Atlanta Falcons once it's all said and done. So I can understand Titans fans being excited about this. But, you know, when I look at, you know, there are a lot of characteristics of a team, you know, that can go either way. I think Tennessee can compete with anybody, and I think that they can lose to anybody.
Wow. What a move with Julio, though, that still puts him in that department of, man, is who's just better on that day, not just the Tennessee Titans roster and talent. It's going to push them over the top. You don't see that being the case with what Julio has brought to this offense.
No, I mean, I think so. If you look, I think, you know, Tennessee's probably a third-tier team in the AFC behind, you know, the Browns, Ravens, Bills, and Chiefs. But I think unlike their division counterparts, Indianapolis, I don't think Indianapolis can beat Kansas City on any given Sunday. But I also don't think Indianapolis can lose to, like, Houston. You know what I mean? Whereas I think Tennessee, like, if you put them in the AFC Championship game against the Chiefs, they could win that game because they have so much high-end talent, and they have, you know, like I mean, you talk about Derrick Henry, A.J. Brown, like all those guys are high-end talent, and if they click on one day, like they could go to the Super Bowl. But they're also a team, and we've seen this, you know, they can lose to the Bengals, you know, like, and that I think was their issue last season. But also, you know, when you take away some of the depth, you take away their offensive coordinator, who I think is one of the most underrated coaches in football, then again, I still think on average they're about as good, maybe a little bit better than Indy, but Indy is so much more solid in many ways. And I think Tennessee, you know, the plus side is that they can win the Super Bowl. Like, I very much could see that happening. But the bad side is, like, I think that there are a lot of cases where they do end up like a 2020 Minnesota Vikings, where great offense, defense falls apart, and you get some bad luck, and you're a below 500 team.
Well, how do you compare Ryan Tannehill to Kirk Cousins? Because I think what you're saying about the Colts is intriguing in terms of, yeah, I like a lot of the pieces on that team, but I sure as hell don't buy into that quarterback.
Well, yeah, so it's so funny because like I compared Kirk Cousins to Matthew Stafford the other day, and people were up in arms, and I almost never know which side the person's on. Like, this is a ridiculous comparison. It's like, well, wait, because like a lot of people think Stafford's way better, and a lot of people think Kirk's way better. And when I look at the Tannehill, like Tannehill's been better than Cousins the last 2 seasons, statistically, and he's been amazing. But how much of that can you untangle from Arthur Smith? Like, I don't know. I think Tannehill's good enough now that Downing's in there that it won't completely fall apart. But in 2018, Tannehill struggled mightily with that, with Adam Gase. So you have like both sides of the spectrum. Where does Downing fit in on that continuum? And then I think that ends up being where Tannehill's going. Kirk Cousins is a guy who's put up almost as good of numbers as Tannehill for longer, with literally a different offensive coordinator every single season for the last 5 or 6 years. So I think that they're comparable in that they're very dependent upon their surroundings, and they're both good. Like, they're both good quarterbacks, and again, that to me is like, okay, when Kirk Cousins was dealing with the defense that was bad last season, and dealing with not unlucky things, like he's not like a tier 1 quarterback with guys like Mahomes, so you couldn't overcome it. That's kind of like what I see with Tannehill. Like, if the table's set, the guy's amazing. If the table gets upset a little bit, like what is he going to be? And I think for Titans fans, that remains unseen because he's been so good, but he's had pretty good circumstances over the last year and a half.
If I was to ask you a team besides Kansas City, that let's say Julio Jones had gone to, what team would he have actually pushed over the top? Because it seems like the consensus is Julio is good, but he's not going to be good enough to get the Titans into that first or second tier when it comes down to AFC teams. So aside Kansas City, what's a team that Julio Jones could have really helped out get to, like, hey, yes, they're going to push Kansas City, or they're going to push, I don't know, they're going to push Tampa Bay when it comes down to him joining their team?
Yeah, that's a great question. I mean, assuming Rodgers stays, like they couldn't afford it, but like assuming Rodgers would have stayed in Green Bay, like I think they're the classic tier 2 team in the NFC. And aside from Devontae Adams, their wide receivers are a little bit suspect. So you put Julio on that team, and I think that they're very much in the conversation with Tampa Bay. In the AFC, I mean, Buffalo's got great receivers, but their number 2 receiver is not as good as Julio, and that offense would be pretty scary if you had Stephon Diggs and Julio Jones. And I think Buffalo's right on the precipice. They're not quite as good because the quarterbacks aren't quite as good. Josh Allen to Mahomes, but that's another one. Cleveland, Cleveland, they just need Odell Beckham Jr. to play like he's supposed to. But if you add Julio into that mix, that's a scary offense as well with Kevin Stefanski and Baker Mayfield. So those would be the teams. But I think like the consensus was right that Tennessee was the natural choice for Julio because they were a team that really needed that secondary option. So this makes sense. And again, like I said, I think it puts Tennessee in the conversation as a contender this year. All the warts that I've mentioned, all understood, I guess.
Mm-hmm. How do you feel about the defense, Eric? I mean, that's the other side of this. The Julio side, yes, the offense should be far better here. But when you're looking at the makeup against the rest of the AFC, really, to me, I look at Tier 1 and I just see Kansas City. That's the only team I even put there. Everybody else, you can find flaws. You can find flaws in Buffalo's running game. I don't know. I need to see Baker Mayfield do this one more time. Baltimore, if I had to spout a real hot take right now, Eric, it would be I don't think Baltimore makes the playoffs this year. I don't love what I'm seeing there. And Greg Roman, last time I checked, is still employed by that team. So I look at that, but I look at Tennessee for them to win. It wasn't that they didn't score enough points last year. It's that they couldn't stop anybody. So you look at Bud Dupree, Danico Autry, Janoris Jenkins kind of replacing Malcolm Butler, drafting Caleb Farley and having to deal with that, and then still having Simmons and Landry and some of those guys. How do you look at that side of the ball for Tennessee?
Yeah, again, this is another comparison, that I made with Minnesota, and where I really like Tennessee's draft, and one of the ways in which they can sort of like do well in the case for, the Vikings didn't last year, is that they'll actually have OTAs and stuff. Like teams that sort of tried to acclimate, the Caleb Farleys of the world last year into the system were just going to struggle because they had no off season during the pandemic. But I thought they had a great draft, and Elijah Molden's a guy who I also think is a pretty good football player. Rashad Weaver out of Pittsburgh as well. So they got talent there. If they can acclimate those guys quickly, they'll have a shot. Bud Dupree's an interesting one, right? Because Bud, is a guy who has gotten a lot of sacks the last few years. But if you look at the pressure numbers, they're pressure numbers that you would expect fewer sacks from. And so the real question mark I have for him is when you get out of, Cameron Hay, when you get out of Stephen Tuitt, when you get out of, TJ Watt and that defense, and you're by yourself and you have to be the ace pass rusher on the team, what kind of production are you going to bring? That remains to be a big question. Last year, Clowney, in the time that he played, couldn't answer that in the affirmative, again, away from J.J. Watt. So that's the concern I have up front for them. Danico Autry's a good football player, though. It's a decent acquisition, and Janoris Jenkins has had his moments in the NFL. But you're right. I mean, that was their biggest problem last year. Their offense was so good that they could still win games, even though they couldn't stop anybody. So the question I have is, if Arthur Smith, the loss of Arthur Smith causes them to score, let's say, 3-4 points fewer a game, and now this defense is, underneath the spotlight, what happens? And that's, I think, where some of the negativity is coming in, where people need to see it to believe it, I think, with this defense.
So with, the ink being dried and the physical being done with Julio here in Nashville, you got AJ, you got Julio, you got Derrick Henry, and you'll get Taylor Lewan back and Roger Saffold. Both should be back and healthy this year. So you got a solid line, got questions at right tackle on who's going to start there, maybe a rookie. So the question I got you, with these weapons that Tannehill has, what is expected from a team that's got two solid wide receivers, an offensive line, a running back, and a quarterback? What should be the expected production from a team like this?
Yeah, I mean, we just reran our numbers. The market moved on the Titans by about a win, maybe a little bit less. We have the Titans as 9.5 wins, which is right beneath Baltimore and Cleveland, Buffalo, and Kansas City in the AFC. We actually have them division title probability about 47%. So they are the favorites now in this division. So that's something that I think is clear. And production-wise, I think A.J. Brown is going to take a big step this year. I think you're talking about a 1,200-yard receiver. I think Julio is going to get 1,000 yards. This is probably going to be the first time the Titans have had two wide receivers over 100 targets in the same season since Nate Washington and Kendall Wright in 2013. So, they've never been a team that's thrown the ball that much to the wide receivers and that much to multiple ones. But I think this will be a new one. I think Tannehill, he didn't even get 4,000 yards last year. I think he's going to put up 4,000 yards this year because they're going to be behind maybe a little bit more. But he's also going to have an offense where they're not going to be quite as run heavy, I think. And he's going to be more of a drop back passer. And I think as such, he'll be, productive. So, this, again, I had a lot of negativity before this trade. The trade has, really curbed my negativity a little bit. I still think that there are paths for them not to be, to struggle a little bit, but make no mistake, they're a good team with a great offense, and that generally wins in the NFL.
So the question I got for you is probably a general one in the way we got to look at, offenses and just team stats moving forward, though. But you bring up those projected stats on the guys with the Titans. But with this 17th game, what's kind of expected from a guy, let's say like Derrick Henry, who just ran for 2,000? If he has similar production, is he going to get over 2,000? You mentioned, AJ getting 1,200 yards and Julio, that plus game, that 17th game.
Yep.
How are you guys going to view what's good, what's not good moving forward? I mean, something can be said about a guy that might get 2,200, 2,300 yards in 17 games.
Yeah, good question. We have, and this is sort of how the math is sort of I think misunderstood. We have Henry, he's projected to be the leading rusher in the NFL. Our projection for him is 1,400 yards, and the reason is guys who end up historically guys that get as many touches as him, they get fewer touches the next year, right? So and guys like that, and guys who are as efficient as he was aren't as efficient the next year. But yeah, if he plays like he did last season, he's going to get 2,200 yards, 2,100 yards. He might break Eric Dickerson's record, and then it's like, well, what does that even mean? It was sort of like, when OJ got over 2,014 games, it seems to me like the best record, right? Mm-hmm. And a guy getting over that now, it's sort of like, well, that's cool and certainly good, but how do you even evaluate that? Will we get a 2,000-yard receiver now? Will we get, there's only been like 6 or 7 5,000-yard passers. There'll probably be a lot more now that you had that 17th game, and that'll add about 300 yards to a guy's total. So it's a really good question. I think, interestingly, with Henry, just to speak to that, like, I also think this trade helps Henry because, they faced a lot of 8-9-man boxes last year, and I don't think you can play 8 or 9 men, in the box with Julio and A.J. Brown on the field at the same time. I think you got to play more too high, and that's going to be a lot of, like, undersized linebackers in the NFL trying to tackle this dude.
One final question. What do you think about Josh Reynolds in this offense? I know, there's some rookies and some guys that aren't used as much, but Reynolds he may have to be the third guy. A lot of people are questioning what Ferkster can be. Maybe you can address that as well. But what do you think outside of Julio and AJ about the rest of this core and what they could do?
The interesting story. I mean, the Chiefs really wanted Josh Reynolds, and I think the Titans stepped up money-wise. But, the best offense in the NFL wanted Reynolds. One of the reasons why was, when you look at his 40 time, it's not the greatest. But when you look at, like, the GPS tracking data, the NGS stuff, he's a lot faster on the field than his timings would suggest. And he was somewhat coveted by other teams as well. I think he's a good football player. I think he can add something there. And they really didn't have, they lose Khalif Raymond and they lose, they really haven't had kind of like that third, fourth option that's pretty good. I think he does step up there. He would have struggled, I think, as the number 2, but I think at the number 3, he's got the potential to be pretty good.
Eric, great stuff, man. We really appreciate the time as always. All the best. We'll talk to you soon.
Yeah. Thanks.
Hey, thanks for having me on, guys. Take care.
Appreciate it. That's Dr. Eric Eager. You know what?
That was real good.
That was pretty measured in a lot of ways. Like, I know a lot of people don't like hearing anything negative about their football team. But I thought that he made the case, whether you agree with it or not, relatively effectively.
The Josh Reynolds bomb.
The Josh Reynolds, that the Chiefs wanted him, and that shows that he's a valuable contributor. I think that's going to be crucial this year.
Shafe brought up something in our area, though, when talking about something like Derrick Henry around 1,400, 1,500 yards.
Like I said, I think the sweet spot's about 1,600.
That's the best thing. Because that leads to what? What does that should mean on the season?
Hopefully it means a little bit longer of a career and not as much workload and maybe a fresher Derrick Henry in the playoffs.
More,
and here's another way to look at it.
Passing yards.
Well, yeah.
Another way to quickly look at it is Derrick Henry feasts a lot on the Jags and Texans and those teams where he's up over 200 yards.
Yes.
You might not need all those yards. Now, he's extremely explosive. That's why he was able to get those yards. But the thing is, you might not be giving him the ball as much to where he's having games that are that explosive in terms of totals.
Or he's needed. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. I'm with you, Shafe.
Yeah.
I'm with you.
The point is, Derrick Henry could hit 2,000 again, but he might not have to. And you expect they're going to pass more because they just paid good money to bring in Julio Jones to pair up with A.J. Brown. You expect that balance is going to shift.
Yeah.
Not necessarily to a passing offense, but one that is utilizing the pass game even more so. That's why Dr. Eager just said he thinks Tannehill goes over 4,000 yards this year. I would say you would hope so.
Between the Josh Reynolds, the third tier, I was kind of high.
Third tier line's the one that I think really got everybody.
Yeah.
We'll talk about we'll talk about more of it, and I do want to talk about and rate the wide receiver tandems, and we'll do that to open the 4th hour of the show. Kayla Anderson's going to join us from WKRN as well. When we come back, Mullen.
What? Birthdays?
Yeah. JMart and Ramon, 104.5 The Zone.
Titans football, the passion that unites us all. Your home for Titans football and the flagship of Titans radio, 104.5 The Zone.
Hey, it's Ramon, and when it comes to selling your home, there can be a lot of uncertainty during that process. But I know the people that can provide certainty, which also helps provide a peace of mind, and that is Open Door. Hundreds of thousands of people have already experienced the certainty of using Open Door, and you can too. Go to opendoor.com answer a few quick questions about your home, complete a contact-free video walkthrough, and get your offer in just a few steps. Thing is, if you like that offer, you can sell your house directly to, that's right, Open Door. No do-it-yourself repairs, no prep work, no showing, no cleaning up, no painting, no nail pops. I can go down a whole list of things because y'all know what they are also. But the thing with Open Door, you can get your offer, you can close when you are ready, and you can do it all online. That, my good people, is certainty, okay? Get your free offer at opendoor.com/myoffer. Again, that's opendoor.com/myoffer. Offer eligibility varies, and Open Door is represented by Open Door Brokerage, Inc. License 02061130 in California, and Open Door Brokerage, LLC, in its other markets.
Thanks, Bill. Have a great day.
Every time our seniors pick up their prescriptions, they're saving money thanks to Medicare Part D. Now, Washington's special interests want to dismantle this vital program and use the money to pay for a partisan political agenda. But Marsha Blackburn is standing up for Tennessee seniors. Blackburn is fighting to protect Medicare and keep drug costs low. America is the global leader in medical innovation, giving our seniors access to more drugs, treatments, and cures than anyone else in the world. And Marsha Blackburn's plan would keep it that way. Now more than ever, our seniors need certainty when it comes to their health care. That's why Marsha Blackburn is keeping drug costs down and making life-saving medication accessible for those that need it most. Call Senator Marsha Blackburn, thank her for introducing the PING Act, and ask her to keep fighting to keep drug prices low for Tennessee seniors. Paid for by A Better Tomorrow in Tennessee.
It's Ramon Foster. And guys, I got something special for you today, okay? If you've noticed a lack of energy, motivation, and drive, it could be low T or something else, like sleep apnea, or even low thyroid. Schedule a complete health assessment at Low T Center. Now they offer a monitor self-inject at-home testosterone treatment for $135 a month, self-pay or covered by most health insurance. So if you've been feeling tired, grumpy, have weight gain, and loss of muscle, go to lowtcenter.com to book your appointment. Low T Center, reinventing men's healthcare.
When you place a wager with William Hill Sportsbook, every sports moment is even more interesting. And we have a special offer to help you bet on all your favorite sports risk-free. Download the William Hill Sportsbook app, and when you sign up, you can get started with a risk-free bet of up to $500. Use promo code RadioRF.
Must be 21 years or older and present in Tennessee to bet. Paid in free bets. New users only. Terms and conditions apply. Gambling problem? Call or text the Tennessee Red Line at 1-800-889-9789.
Let's make it interesting with William Hill Sportsbook.
At DeWalt, we're proud to welcome NASCAR back to Nashville. A lot's changed since the last time a cup race came to town in '84. Back then, drills and phones still had cords attached to them, and it was a heck of a lot easier to find a parking spot downtown. But there's a lot that hasn't changed, like the pride Tennesseans take in a job well done, and the toughness of DeWalt tools, from right here in Jackson, Tennessee. DeWalt, guaranteed tough.
As a third-generation pest control company owner, but even more as the mom of 3 boys and 1 silly puppy, you can trust me when I tell you, Tennessee ticks are nothing to mess with.
Nope. No way.
So before fleas and ticks get you,
Mom, I got the itches.
invite our family to show up.
All American Pest Control.
Call our family at All American Pest Control today.
We love us a yuck bug free Tennessee.
Or just visit our website.
Yuckbugs.com.
Mike Keith here. You know Nashville's at a huge seller's market right now. A lot of people could sell their homes and make a fortune, but they're afraid to because they think they won't find a place to buy. It's a huge missed opportunity, but my good friend Gary Ashton has the solution. Don't sell without the intel. Any real estate agent can put your home on the market, but you need a world-class team who can get you into the next one. With over 200,000 visitors to GaryAshton.com a month, nobody has better Nashville property intel, including off-market properties. It's the secret that the Gary Ashton team has to help you win the buyer battle, give you the confidence to sell today, and get top dollar for your home. If you're sitting on the sidelines, don't. With the
the third hour of the hashtag fastest 4 hours in radio. Our thanks to Geoff Schwartz and Dr. Eric Eager.
Yeah.
I know it's triggering to some people, but you also do want to hear every opinion. One thing, I didn't tweet it out, but I thought about it. We got to get away from this rush to only seek out people you agree with. Some of the best discussions you're ever going to have come from just listening to people's opinions. You don't have to agree with those opinions, but I would rather know what people think. I'd rather actually be able to work that in as opposed to just having everything confirm my own worldview, confirm how I feel about anything, from something as frivolous as a sports fandom to larger stuff, anything,
a house, yeah,
absolutely. That's the way I see it. So we knew we were bringing on some people that probably weren't going to say the most flattering stuff, but we appreciate their perspective, whether you agree with that perspective or not. I appreciate this more than just about anything we do. Birthday time. Here we go. Sturgill Simpson is 43 today. Moan?
A star of Boyhood? No?
He has been in a movie, though. Not a good one.
Was he Get Out?
Not a good one.
It wasn't Get Out?
You can get out.
What you talking about, man?
Guitarist Derek Trucks, 42.
Oh, guitarist?
Yeah, Derek Trucks, I actually sat in a room with him with a guitar in my hand. He showed me how to use a slide.
Huh.
I didn't, at the time, he was just kind of a young kid who knew a friend of mine that I went to high school with. And so we were all sitting around his house. Derek Trucks has turned into be a pretty big star and super talented. And, you know, his brother.
Was he behind Old Town Road?
No. But he's tied with the Allman Brothers band and a bunch of other really talented folks.
There we go.
I don't even know what to say to you. I don't want to make eye contact with you right now. Okay. Juliana Margulies is 54.
Hey, there we go.
Hey.
You know who that is?
She was in Django Unchained. Unchained.
First off, it's not Django Unchained.
Unchained. Django. She wasn't in that.
Moving on.
ER.
Oh, she was on a show.
She was on something called The Good Wife, which was an excellent show until the finale.
Okay.
A lot of shows.
And ER,
like
of course.
That.
Keenan Ivory Wayans is 63.
Don't be a menace to South Central or drinking your juice in the hood, baby.
But what's the most important thing he did?
Low Down Dirty Shame in Living Color.
In Living Color.
There we go. Wonder why I knew that one.
I'm glad that you knew that one. Let's just say that. Bonnie Tyler is 70.
Hey.
What's your favorite Bonnie Tyler role, Moan?
Black Swan.
She's a singer.
What's your favorite Bonnie Tyler song, Moan?
She's a singer.
Straight Outta Compton. What about Gin and Juice? What about Whistle While You Twerk?
Not even going to give that a buzzer. It's so ridiculous.
That's the Yin Yang Twins.
Thought she was in the video. She wasn't in the video. She wasn't in the video then. My bad.
I don't.
I'm trying.
Mark.
I'll be listening to you.
Yeah.
I ain't listening to you.
Mark Firestein is 50.
I don't
What's
know.
your favorite Mark Firestein role?
American Hustle.
I don't know if that's
West
right
Wing.
or not. Oh, okay.
Royal Pains. He was a lead in Royal Pains on USA.
I thought, okay, never mind. I was off.
Okay.
I didn't know that guy either. I'm with you, Mo.
Look, see, same boat.
I bet you know this one. Kanye West.
Hey, college dropout, baby.
44.
Shout out to Kanye, man.
Only
Beautiful
the theme
mind.
to this show.
Yes, it is. Wait.
Frank Grillo is 56. What's your favorite Frank Grillo role, Moan?
True Grit. Rise of the Planet of the Apes. Gone Girl. None of those. Huh. Interesting. Crooklyn.
That's the walk-off right there. I haven't heard a Crooklyn reference in a long time, man.
God.
We got the fourth hour. Good Lord, man. Did he get anything right other than Kanye West today?
And Keenan.
And Keenan Ivory West. I was looking to see if there was anything else that I could see on the list that might help you out today.
Give me one. One more.
Nancy Sinatra is 81.
She was in Bohemian Rhapsody. No? That wasn't a girlfriend?
Fourth hour's next. JMart and Ramon, 104.5 The Zone.
Coming up Talk today on the 3HL.
The Julio Jones talk continues. Jim White from TennesseeTitans.com joins us to talk in more detail about the impact of the addition of Julio. Alan Bell from SportsOn.com has the odds changes for the Titans.
Today, starting at 3 p.m. on 104.5 The Zone.
This is Boomer Esiason with the CBS Sports Minute. Sponsored by NHTSA. Every year, children die from being left alone in cars. If you see a child left unattended, call 911 immediately. The French Open women's quarterfinals are underway with a record 6 first-timers in the Elite 8. There's only one American in Paris still standing. And if you haven't been paying attention, it's not Serena Williams, nor is it Sloane Stephens, or Sophia Kenin. It's 17-year-old Coco Gauff, who is yet to drop a set. In the past, I felt like I was satisfied with the run I made in the tournament, so maybe I came into the matches not as hungry, Gauff said. I think with a lot of young players, we tend to get satisfied with the small results before we realize that we can really shoot for more. Tomorrow, she'll be shooting for her first Grand Slam semifinals. Go get 'em, Coco. We'll be watching. I'm Boomer Esiason.
A child's body temperature rises 3 to 5 times faster than an adult's, and leaving a child in a hot vehicle can lead to their death very quickly. Tragically, in 2020, 24 children died of pediatric vehicular heat stroke, and many of these incidents occurred when parents or caregivers simply forgot the child was in the car. Please set yourself reminders on your cell phone or place something you'll need in the back seat so you don't forget your child. Always look for your baby before you lock. Paid for by NHTSA.
Jay Farner here, CEO of Rocket Mortgage and Rocket Companies. Last year, we saw historically low mortgage interest rates. What you may not know is that interest rates are already starting to increase, and it's likely that trend is only going to continue. Our team of experts is standing by to help you save before rates go up. Don't look back and wish that you had taken action. Call 833-8ROCKET or visit rocketmortgage.com.
Rocket. Call for cost information and conditions. Equal housing lender. Licensed in all 50 states and MLSConsumerAccess.org. Number 3030.
Lately, we've been getting a lot of calls and questions about acoustic wave therapy for the treatment of erectile dysfunction. This is a relatively new treatment for ED, but one we've been using for years. This is Kim for the Tennessee Men's Clinic, and if you're looking at acoustic wave therapy or any option to help your ED, it's worth a visit to check us out. Our wave therapy protocols use acoustic wave technology, but often also combine it with other treatments that can give most of our patients far higher satisfaction rates. There is no surgery nor any type of invasive procedures required, and while most clinics you hear about only offer sound wave treatments, with our urologist and provider's guidance, you can likely have sex the day after your appointment and experience fewer letdowns. With another one of our ED treatments, you can last up to an hour and a half, and our expertise in treating these issues means you'll get the results you want. So make your appointment today. We'll show you why our acoustic wave program is the better way to do wave therapy. Call us today at 615-208-9090 or go to TennesseeMen'sClinic.com. Visit our website to learn more, including side effects. Treatments extra. Results vary.
Unused prescription opioid pain medicines can spell trouble. Safely dispose of opioids before they can hurt your family. Find a drug take-back option such as medicine drop boxes. Visit www.fda.gov/drug disposal.
A message from the U.S. Food and Drug Administration.
This summer, take a trip to where it's hot, 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 and find yourself on white hot sands beneath a flaming hot sun, enjoying a blazing hot summer. Or if that's not an option, take the white hot, blazing hot, or flaming hot fun of summer wherever summer takes you with new June Instant Games only from the Tennessee Lottery. Game-changing fun. Please play responsibly.
Quick cash could do you right. Quick cash could do you right. You could win some cash in an instant. You could win it later that night. Fun now, fun later. Add Quick Cash to a drawing game.
Like Lotto America, Cash for Life, and even Tennessee Cash. Add Quick Cash to any of them, and you can win cash in a flash.
Today's the day to play Quick Cash from the Tennessee Lottery. It's game-changing fun. Ooh. Now please play responsibly.
We all know selling your home can be stressful. Hi, this is Mark Spain, and with a guaranteed offer from Mark Spain Real Estate, it doesn't have to be. You can sell your home hassle-free and close in as little as 21 days. You can forget the painting, constant cleaning, and all the hassle. And at Mark Spain Real Estate, we respond fast. There's no showings, no open houses, no stress. With Mark Spain Real Estate, you can work with the most trusted real estate team in the U.S. and close with confidence. Get a guaranteed offer from Mark Spain Real Estate and sell your home hassle-free. Receive the strongest cash offer in the industry and close in as little as 21 days. The Wall Street Journal ranks Mark Spain Real Estate the #1 real estate team in America out of more than 2 million realtors 3 years in a row. Our client Jeff said, when we decided to sell our home, we chose the guaranteed offer from Mark Spain Real Estate. They made the process of selling our home simple and stress-free. Go to markspain.com to get a guaranteed offer on your home today and start packing.
855-299 sold.
Certain restrictions apply.
It's no secret that the housing market is red hot. Get a leg up on the competition and get pre-approved now. The 21-day closing guarantee, only available at thehomeloanexpert.com.
NMLS number 1326241.
No one does happy hour like Twin Peaks. From tequila cocktails and bourbon to top shelf spirits served over ice balls. Local craft beers and handcrafted whiskey cocktails round out an adventurous drink menu second to none. And don't forget about the 29-degree man-sized drafts.
Join 104.5 The Zone as we hit the road this spring for events and live shows. Hey, it's Buck Rising. Want to know when 104.5 The Zone will be out and about in your community? Then check out our event calendar at 1045thezone.com/events. It's Zone on the Road, powered by my friends at Two Rivers Ford. Stay up to date on all of our events, live shows, and more, thanks to the fine folks at Two Rivers Ford.
In trouble with the
Hour number 4, hashtag fastest 4 hours in radio. Kayla Anderson, WKRM, will join us in the next segment. It's JMart and Ramon Foster, Jonathan Schaefer. Ramon played 11 years in the NFL, of course, All for Life. Speaking of Alls for Life, Tim Priest retiring from the booth, where he's been a color analyst for such a long time. We've heard him throughout the fall here on 104.5 The Zone with all network coverage for a long time. Pat Ryan, the other voice of the Music City Miracle.
Why are you staring at me like that, man?
You know why I'm staring at you.
The Music City Musical is coming to a theater near you soon.
Indeed. Well, congrats to Pat Ryan, who you'll love listening to and already have loved listening to for a long period of time. So a little bit of change with the Vol Network, but not bad change other than just, I mean, Tim's done it for a while. He's probably, Tim, the funniest thing about Tim is he has a zoology degree.
What?
I remember looking that up years and years ago. That's what his degree's in, is zoology.
So we could have hit him up about owning a zebra or a giraffe.
Definitely could have.
I got to ask him about that. What it actually takes to have a zebra or giraffe.
He's going to have more time in his hands. You can ask him.
So we got some good submissions for Top Observation. Top Ob this hour. We're going to read this Matt Moon tweet. I think we can say it. We had to double check it, though.
Well, if you want to skip a couple letters, that might help out. Let's put it that way.
Okay. I'll do a Harvey Marison on it.
There you go.
Matt Moon says, Geoff Schwartz just happens to rhyme with Winnetle Jorts.
I can feel it all the way down in my plums.
Man.
Look at Matt Moon. Don't act surprised now.
Man.
Tom Moore. I guess he thinks the hate continues because he says, "Oh, it's Kayla. I hate cartoons, Anderson."
We got to get her to come on and say at least Lola Bunny or somebody is her favorite. Like, come on, man. Kayla, they at your neck.
And Mr. Caples.
Come on, dog. He's been on fire.
He has been on fire today.
He's been on fire, man.
JMart is so dressed like a dad that knows every wink of sleep is of vital importance. Tee in shorts, so when you get home and little mama's asleep, you can just dive on the couch or bed and get some winks in. No need to change.
Trying to spot that lie.
Here's the way I'm dressed, the way I'm always dressed, which is the schedule is always the same. You finish the show, we talk for a couple of minutes, roll out, head to the gym, get in a workout as fast as possible, get home. Maybe I have to run an errand or something, go to a grocery store, pick something up, head to the house so that I can relieve her and still get a shower in. And, she'll take a nap or she goes to do whatever she needs to do in the afternoons, steps aside. I usually fall asleep with the baby while I'm on the couch at like 4 o'clock or something like that, just doze off for a few minutes. But that's how it rolls. He's not wrong. And then somebody said, when do you guys get to sleep? I'm like, well, last night it was this morning because CG was up late last night, so I didn't get to bed till around 12:45. So I'm rolling on 4 hours of sleep right now.
Sometimes that's the best, man, until you crash. Like, the best thing to do is just power right through this one, Jay. Don't even
I'll
stop.
be fine.
Yeah.
Like, I'm fine right now.
Yeah.
It wasn't fun to wake up, but I'm all right now. But, like, 2 or 3 o'clock this afternoon when I'm not doing anything, that's when hibernation becomes.
You know what also begins at that time? Hell. Because CG is going to decide. She going to decide. I hope she don't for your sake. You need this power nap. But when you got plans to get a nap in, that's when it's always, hey, can you help out? CG going to choose violence, man.
Oh, I know she's going to choose violence.
Good luck, man. Thoughts and prayers.
I appreciate that. So let's rank some wide receiver duos a little bit. Let's do it. Where do A.J. Brown and Julio Jones rank?
Just off pure talent, you got to be top 3.
I agree. I think 3. I think 3 is the floor.
Yeah. I think 3 is the floor also. Easy top 3.
All right, so Evans and Godwin.
They got a ring under their belt right now.
Well, even though, I think Evans and Godwin might be number 1.
Yeah.
If they're not, they're number 2.
Mm-hmm.
I think you could argue for any of the 3. I also think that there's more talent around those 2 guys. On the receiving side, with AB sitting there and that kind of thing. I'm talking about that. Okay. And then when you look at the other one that I think you would put in 3, it would be Travis Kelce and Tyreek Hill.
Easy.
And so then you're still looking at what's around them, and they're loaded with other talent, other receivers, other guys that make plays for them on that side of the ball as well.
What's crazy is we're looking at just wide receiver tandems and we're throwing Kelce in there. Imagine that. This guy is so dynamic, and I guarantee you he's not a 4.5 still or whatever he was, 4.6. Kelce might be like 4.7-ish right now.
He just has a knack of being open, man.
He does, man.
He runs some great routes.
And you got to ask the question, too, why don't they put a corner on him at all times? Like, you want to put a linebacker on him? Okay. Barbecue chicken then.
Yep.
Yep. It's barbecue chicken. Like, you can't afford
He's a matchup nightmare, just like Kittle is.
Goodness.
Kelsey's unreal. Like, Kelsey's probably a Hall of Famer right now.
If he walked away
right now.
First ballot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think he will get in.
Pitts and really is what Casey just said right now.
To Dr. Eager's argument about them being similar to Minnesota, the Titans being similar to Minnesota, even though I would disagree in some facets, and I think Tannehill is a substantially better quarterback than Kirk Cousins, who I think is vastly just over-talked about. Yes. And when he's had to do anything in prime time, it ain't worked out real well for him. But I do think there's a comparison to Jefferson and Thielen.
Yeah.
Because Thielen's been one of the best wide receivers in the league for a while. And Justin Jefferson's entering his second year. And stud last year as a rookie.
Stud.
Out of the SEC. A.J. Brown, stud as a rookie. Had a solid year or two, even with the bone bruise. And then you bring in, so Thielen, I don't think he's been in the league as long as Julio has, but both of them have been near the top of the league for a very long time.
Yes, indeed.
I think that's comparable. And I think the offenses are comparable in that I think Dalvin Cook is one of the only backs that you could try to argue is on par with Derrick Henry.
Facts, 100%. So, and I'll throw this out there as a little nugget and hopes, I guess, for the Titans fans. Though, you look at Justin Jefferson. Where was he at? LSU?
Yeah.
Who's also behind him? Racing McMath?
Well, Racing McMath was there. Terrace, who went already, and Jamar Chase.
So I'm saying, like, there was a pool of talent that you got to hope that you can get something out of Racing McMath. But this Justin Jefferson and Adam Thielen tandem that they have, top 5.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
All right, so now let's look a little further. DK Metcalf and Tyler Lockett, I would say, are in the upper echelon, to say the least.
Absolutely. The thing that sucks for them is they're all the way in Seattle. And only time we really get a chance to really truly appreciate them is either if they got a Monday night or Sunday night game, or if we see them on SportsCenter. We don't get a equal dosing of DK Metcalf and Tyler Lockett unless they make a highlight. Like with the guys on the East Coast, you can watch the games in like 12, 3 o'clock and see them do work. Like a lot of people sometimes might tune out the late afternoon games until it's like playoff time or
the late afternoon games usually the highest rated game.
Are they really the highest rated?
Yeah.
Oh man.
Fox's game of the week was nearly every week was the highest rated game along with Sunday Night Football. So I mean I don't know about that.
I stand corrected then, Jay.
Well, I think that Seattle, because of Russell Wilson, was getting put into prime spots and people were watching them anyway. I think one of the more underrated tandems.
Who?
Brandon Ayuk and George Kittle.
You've dropped Ayuk name a few times as
if we're talking about Jefferson, and I think you should be talking about Jefferson. I think you have to talk about Brandon Ayuk.
Yeah. Just a young talent that's on his way. It's a West Coast team though, man. The coverage, I'm sure, over is great on that, but I can't wait to watch him this year. Definitely, I hate to say this because we're in that age, but fantasy-wise, I want to see what he does.
Denver has a fleet of wide receivers. They might have the best wide receiver talent, top to bottom, in the entire NFL, which is why, look, Aaron Rodgers.
I actually heard. I told you that Linda Cohn interview, the former Packers GM, he was like, they're going to bite the bullet and Aaron Rodgers back in Green Bay.
Yeah, I mean, that's what most people tend to be saying right now. It's probably the safest thing to say.
It's safe, yeah. Safe to say.
And it may be the case.
You know what some people are saying?
What?
You, Aaron Rodgers.
I thought I knew what was going on, but that's why you are who you are.
Also, stay in the NFC West. Robert Woods and Cooper Kupp.
Robert Woods.
Still a pretty solid 1-2 punch there.
Been solid for a long time. I ain't going to say a long time, but they've been solid for a little while now. They got a nice little 1-2 punch.
I think Dallas, Amari Cooper,
CD.
Michael Gallup, and CD Lamb. You can take any pairing there, but you take Amari and CD, and I think Gallup gets left out of discussions more often than he should. I think you could put them in the mix.
Yeah.
Potentially as well. But I still think that at worst, Julio and AJ are 3. You could argue on any given Sunday, they're number 1.
So of those groups right there, we hadn't mentioned Cleveland as far as the 1-2 punch. We hadn't mentioned Buffalo as far as having
and
the 1-2
Cleveland's
punch.
another good one. I don't know.
I don't know what to think of Odell.
Yeah.
I know he's dynamic.
Odell and Jarvis should be, but it depends on whether Odell's head is right. In Buffalo, it's what? Diggs and Beasley.
I've got an opinion on Odell.
Yeah, that's some turd stuff right there.
Oh. Know what else is turd stuff? Not like in Shrek.
Oh.
It is turd stuff.
Bless her heart.
You're not wrong.
Bless
but
her heart.
It's more of a
poop fest.
Yeah. It's the Odell thing, too.
Kayla Anderson will join us. We'll talk to her about this same thing. Casey's choosing violence on YouTube.
I know.
She's been trolling, or he's been trolling. I can't see your photo, so don't hate me if I got that wrong. It's Casey with a K here, so I don't know. It says Pitts and Ridley. Look at you choosing violence out here.
Already, huh?
There you go. We'll be right back with Kayla Anderson here at JMart and Ramon 104.5 The Zone.
The best Titans coverage can be found on your smartphone.
Comeback foiled. Titans 4-2.
Download the 104.5 The Zone app. Your home for Titans football and the flagship of Titans radio. 104.5 The Zone.
DraftKings Sportsbook is not only my favorite sportsbook, but it's also America's top-rated sportsbook. I love using the DraftKings Sportsbook. It's easy to navigate, has plenty of instructions for new bettors, and nearly limitless ways to get in on all the action. I know a lot of people who have been loving the DraftKings Sportsbook, and I know you will too. Listen to this great offer. DraftKings Sportsbook is putting you courtside, not literally, you got to buy those tickets, okay? But with the chance to turn $1 into $100 in site credits. That's right. Pick any basketball team that's still in contention. Bet $1, 100 pennies, however you count it up. And if that team wins, you win $100 in site credits. Don't forget, DraftKings Sportsbook also offers great odds and promotion in baseball, hockey, and so much more all week long. This is the thing about DraftKings Sportsbook. It's safe, secure, and reliable, so you can deposit and withdraw your funds at your convenience. You need it, you get it. That's how they work, okay? Download the top-rated DraftKings Sportsbook app now and use promo code WGFX when you sign up to turn $1 into $100 in free credit. Bet on the basketball team of your choice to win their next game, and if they do, you will claim $100 in free credits. But you got to use promo code WGFX, but it's for a limited time, only at the DraftKings Sportsbook, and you must be 21 years and older and present in Tennessee to bet. Wager is paid out in site credits. Restrictions apply, of course. See DraftKings.com/sportsbook for details. And if you or someone you know has a gambling problem and wants or need help, call or text the Tennessee Red Line at 1-800-889-9789.
Why does it seem like every ad you hear on the radio claims to be a family-owned and operated business? This is Dan Watkins with All Four Seasons Garage Doors. Let me tell you what family-owned and operated means to me. It means going to work every day, striving to make my business better. It's about my family, really working with
JMart and Ramon, 104.5 The Zone. On Twitter, at JMart and Ramon. 11-year NFL veteran, ball for life, Ramon Foster. I'm not Jonathan Schaefer. I'm Jason Martin.
You better looking.
Jonathan Schaefer, also here. But man, what do you want from me?
I don't know anymore. What do you want from me?
As Coach Mack looks gazing at you lovingly right here.
Yeah, who tilted him to look at me this way, Coach Matt?
You?
Come on, man.
You want all the eyes on you?
This reminds me of the dodgeball with the Robo Gym. The eyes in it. You remember that?
During it, I want to get your attention to go somewhere else so I can move it right behind you. You turn around, it's like the Bell Witch.
Not what we're doing. I had somebody walk up to me and was like, "Hey, Ramon, I should bring you one of those rocks from the cave." Like, dog, don't play with me like that.
We'll be there in the fall.
Don't play with me like that. Come on, y'all. Be better.
We're going to be there in the fall.
I get so many messages of people coming up to me about the Bell Witch. I'm like, people, no.
That's been one of the most stunning moments in this show's short history.
It is.
Has been the Bell Witch thing.
Anxiety.
Can't wait to be there hanging with her this fall.
No, Kayla's not going. If she don't like Shrek, she's not liking the Bell Witch.
Kayla Anderson does join us on the line. Kayla, what's going on?
First of all, you're not starting off my call this morning burying me in the Twitter sphere this morning. I'm coming in hot, and I'm coming in with a positive attitude.
Are you trying to psych yourself up? Are you Al Franken looking in a mirror right now?
You're dang right I am. I'm pumping myself up. I'm not going to get buried in the Twitter sphere this morning. It's going to be all positive.
I'm good enough. I'm smart enough. And doggone it, people like me.
Exactly.
All right, so Julio Jones, what are your thoughts?
I'm not surprised at all that this trade was done. I think we were all just kind of waiting for John Robinson to pull the trigger on this deal because we all had looked at what was going on offense in terms of the wide receiver room, the lack of depth there, the lack of, star power surrounding A.J. Brown, and then just the situation with the tight ends too. I mean, there was just not really anything happening with that, with Anthony Ferguson being the tight end one right now. And so I wasn't surprised that this was done. It was just, taking a little time to figure it all out. But as you guys listened to John Robinson in his presser last week, he said this is something they were considering for a while now. And I don't doubt that wasn't the case. I mean, this is clearly something that they were looking at, they wanted to do. And credit to John Robinson, he made it happen.
Yeah, that's the beauty of it, is the fact that he made this happen. They've made this happen. But, Kayla, if we can be honest, in recent history under John Robinson, they've made a lot of calculated moves to make this team better. What does it say about him and the process of, letting the coaches coach in the front office just being out of the way? Is this rare? Is this something new and refreshing? Because I don't know if they're hearing the fans or social media, but they're getting it done when getting guys they have to get to make this team better.
Yeah, and we had that discussion months ago about Bud Dupree, and I know that, when you guys put that poll out about who would you rather have, and it was like one or the other, it's like, no, let's do both, right? And that's what fans want, and it's not just about what fans want, but it's about what's going to make this team Super Bowl contenders now, because the window's not huge. And so you have to look at what you have on this team. What can you do to make it better right now? And go for it. And John Robinson understands that. And let's also give a lot of credit to Amy Adams-Strunk, who doesn't do what Jerry Jones does and interferes with everything and acts like, they're the ones running the show. And Amy's never been like that. But I'm just saying this is a team that, Amy trusts in John Robinson to make the moves that will make this football team better. And they're not all going to hit all the time. But he's doing what he thinks this team needs this year. And I think all the moves that he's made so far, it looks like it's going to work. Now we got to just wait and see how it plays out.
So what does it working mean? Like, in terms of what does success here look like? Is it Super Bowl or bust? Is it make it to the AFC Championship game like you did 2 years ago? Like, how fair are the expectations, which I do think a lot of the fans are going to think it's, this is a team that can go win the Super Bowl. And this kind of a move would indicate the front office feels like they're pretty close because they're pushing all their chips in the middle on a, 2-3 year window, I think is probably fair.
Yeah, I think that's fair time-wise. And John Robinson was also asked about that. Is this a Super Bowl or bust type of move? And while he didn't specifically answer that, he said, we're not going to set one goal right now, but we all know that goal is making it to the Super Bowl and winning trophy. I think all the players on that team right now also have a lot more confidence just adding a piece like Julio Jones that can happen. But I don't think fans, right now you've got to wait and see what happens also with this defense. And there has been pieces added to the defense, but we also saw how poor they performed last year as a whole. And there was just so many poor individual performances. That has to step up to another level if this team is going to compete for a Super Bowl. Who's going to get that far? But adding the piece on offense, it's just amazing what one guy can do. I think that hypes things up a lot more. Realistically, right now, I think you have to just hold on just a second and think that this is going to be a playoff team. But this defense, you have to wait and see what happens with this defense.
With Todd Downing, Vrabel's had a couple of OCs go get head coaching job. If that's the case, can we kind of expect Todd Downing to be that guy that's next in line to have a successful offense with this team here in Tennessee? Because there's a lot at stake here. Like you said, you've gotten the answers to the test, and that's getting the players, as far as the Jimmys and Joes go. It's got to be on him to kind of deliver at the end of the day right now, right?
Absolutely. And, the track record for these offensive coordinators of recent history has been good, like you said. You saw what happened to Arthur Smith. He worked his way up through the organization, moved on. Now he's a head coach for the Atlanta Falcons. And Todd Downing, he's being put into a pretty good situation, guys. He's inheriting a already pretty decent offense with Derrick Henry, Ryan Tannehill, A.J. Brown. And now he gets a piece like this. One of the best wide receivers in the game is still, I think, at the age of 32, producing at a high level. Now it's up to Todd Downing to really get the most out of his offense, get the most out of Julio Jones. And that's really what you wonder with a guy who's 32 years old. He clearly is coming here because he wants to win. That's per John Robinson. That's what he said. He might not be getting as many targets as he got in Atlanta. I think he averaged 9.8 targets per game when he was with the Falcons. He might not get that. But if Julio's coming here to win, if that's his main priority, then I think it's going to work out well. But you're right. Todd Downing has got to get the most out of this offense. And, who knows? Maybe he's on the move next year too. But right now it's just this year is what they have to focus on.
Just your personal opinion, though, with the addition of Julio and just the defensive side of the ball too. When you have star power, you kind of demand the TV lens a little bit longer. And in our world, we kind of like that, except for the late games for the early morning risers. But do you kind of personally expect these games to be flexed later in the season when they're available to be done?
Yeah, and it depends on what's going on, right? It depends on what their record is. But I think getting a guy like Julio obviously brings a lot of national attention to the Tennessee Titans. And look, that's also something that has been on the rise since Mike Vrabel joined the Titans as the head coach. Ever since Mike Vrabel has been here in Nashville, I think you've kind of seen the popularity of the Titans, the national love they get, starting to rise a little bit as well. And the more names that they add, like a Julio Jones, you're going to see some of those games that they're going to get, like you said, those flex games. They're going to be in the national spotlight a little more. But to stay there, they got to keep winning, guys.
Defensive side of the ball, I would say this. If you go pay for Julio Jones, we were talking about, okay, well, the offense isn't going to be as good. They're not going to score as many points, so the defense has to be better. But now you look at everything, the offense, you're likely still going to score a lot of points. That's going to be the expectation going in. So if you're Shane Bowen, do you now have more pressure on you because you are a perfect scapegoat? If the defense isn't great with all the moves that have been made and Julio adding to the offense, are the fans going to turn on Shane Bowen, and does he become the one that has to go under the bus first if the defense struggles early?
Yeah, that's a great question. And I think that even last year with so much confusion on who was really in charge of the defense. So was it Mike Vrabel who had most to say? Was it Shane Bowen? Now we know Shane Bowen is officially the defensive coordinator. So he is going to have all the pressure on him. And yeah, you still throw in Mike Vrabel. How much is he really involved in the defense and the play calling and so on and so forth? But if this defense cannot pick up, the scraps and the offense is going to be out there doing its thing, balling out. If the defense cannot get better this year, cannot be above what they were last year, there's going to be a lot of pressure on Shane Bowen. But there's also going to be pressure on the individual players, the guys that were brought in, and those players who were brought back, like Jayon Brown. These guys, they have to step it up individually. Kevin Byard has to step it up. But when it's all said and done, Shane Bowen will be the guy that sees the most pressure.
Yes, he will. And I'll say this, too. I just want to ask you, too, because this will be my first offseason with a crowd. Like, last year was my first offseason not being in the game. With the crowds, with the NFL already saying we're 100%, let's go. With the additions to this team and what's expected and just where they were last year, and we'll ask this in the fall, too, when that time comes. But I just need a few chill bumps, Kayla, on what is Nissan Stadium parking lot, the surrounding areas, the bars, the stadium going to look and feel like? Because I'm still a rookie in this world of tailgating and going to games. So break it down to me what you expect, Kayla.
Okay, so I've talked to a lot of Titans fans in the last couple of days since the Julio Jones trade. And these fans are pumped. I mean, you're talking about they already had their loyal fans, but now you have fans here that are like, whoa, we're getting Julio Jones. Like, people know Julio Jones. Even if they're not a huge sports or football fan, people know Julio Jones, especially here in the South because he played at Alabama, right? Yeah. So there's going to be a lot of Julio Jones jerseys. What number that's going to be yet, well, that'll be determined. But I think it's going to be a whole nother level. And not only because fans weren't really allowed in full capacity last year at Nissan Stadium, but now you add this piece. Now you add all the hype that comes around with it nationally. I think you're going to see some tailgating. I think you're going to see some full bars on Broadway, a lot of two-tone blue. And I really do expect that stadium to be packed when they kick off at the start of the year.
What number is Julio going to wear? What number do you think Julio is going to wear?
I am so confused because I talked to A.J. Brown on, what was that, Sunday? They were at an event, and Jim Wyatt actually asked A.J. Brown about it. And he kind of like, he stopped for a minute. And he's like, well, I'm working something out with John Robinson. And so I'm just wondering, like, okay, I don't know what's going on behind the scenes because I think Julio's going to get 11. But I maybe like 1.
Interesting.
Whoa, 1?
I mean, he wore that in college.
Huh?
Didn't he?
Moon? Yeah, but Warren Moon, AJ already attempted to do that one. And he was like, after looking at Warren Moon's stats and all everything he's done, he don't know.
So you think he's completely given up on that?
Man, the way AJ is and Julio, I mean, those two together, we know I saw a lot of personality from AJ in these last like 5-6 months.
Come buy out with me, bro.
I mean, Julio wore 8 at Bama, so he could wear 8.
Yeah, and that's not a bad bet. Like I could see them just, Julio going with 8, AJ going with 11. They work something out. I don't know. Guys are so particular about numbers.
They are.
I mean,
we are.
But there's also that deal where you have to buy all the jerseys that are out there. Like if you're AJ, you have to buy all those from the league. If you change your number, that's part and parcel. And there's probably a lot of AJ Brown jerseys out there with number 11. So that would be a money thing. That might be what he's trying to work out. Like if he's going to change his number.
Yeah.
That's what I was thinking when he said that. I was like, maybe they're working out the money thing if they're trying to change it. So maybe if that doesn't work out, they just stick with those 2 numbers.
I was gonna say, how much is $200,000 to a guy that's probably gonna make almost $200 million? Yeah, that's gonna be interesting. Though I can't wait to see what number he's gonna pick. But the fit seems right for AJ here, and it's almost like everybody knew it was gonna happen. We were just waiting on it.
Yeah, it's the fit is definitely, and I remember talking with former general manager Randy Mueller. He's a family friend of mine, and he said, like, really, Julio Jones is a fit for any team, right? Let's not kid ourselves. But I think for Julio at this point of his career, being an Alabama native, guys, I watched this kid play in high school when in my first job in Montgomery, Alabama. He came up for one of the postseason games with Foley. And, I mean, this guy has been a star since he was in high school. He's been a beast since he was in high school, and he's never really dropped off. And for him to stay in the South, to stay kind of in this region, and to go to a Titans team who wants to win now, match made in heaven.
Nice humble brag there on family friend Randy Mueller.
You knew I got to get it in.
You said you was choosing joy today, and we see now.
I came in hot.
There are people on the channel saying, "No, we canceled you a few weeks ago. We wring our hands of you after the Shrek take. We're not gonna set you up for failure here." I was trying to come up with something that was gonna make you even more likable to try and overcome the Shrek deal.
Yeah, somebody asked, "Do you at least like Tom and Jerry?"
Yes.
Oh, there it is.
Tom and Jerry or Itchy and Scratchy?
Oh,
I like both of them.
See, you came.
I like both of them. And Beavis and Butthead.
Wow. Look at you. I remember
I'm going there.
We couldn't even watch Beavis and Butthead like that. Now Family Guy's on a regular network now.
That's true.
Look at you upset that content's become so terrible in society that now you can just watch whatever you want.
I know, right?
I don't know that that's a good thing, guys. I'm not so sure about it. All right, Kayla, we appreciate you.
Absolutely.
We always do. We always look forward to these conversations. I don't think you're going to get any hate today, though. So I don't know that this has worked. Now you've got Steve Dalton on Periscope. That's why I love her.
See?
Matt Moon, I'm in love.
Thank you.
So now you're getting all sorts of stuff here.
My heart feels good today.
Don't cancel Kayla.
I gotta figure out something that's gonna get you polarized again. Next time we have you on, we gotta take you back down. We gotta balance this thing out. It can be good, but then it's gotta be awful next time.
Guys, I love you.
Thank you,
Absolutely,
Kayla.
Kayla.
That's
It was
Auntie
fun.
Kayla. WKRN. Does a great job.
Yes, indeed.
Matt
man.
Moon, keep your powder dry.
Keep your powder
615-737-1045 is the telephone number. We'll react a little bit more and finish up the fastest 4 hours in radio next. JMart and Ramon, 1045 The Zone.
Get schooled in Middle Tennessee sports. Class is now in session with Buck, the Buck Rising Show. Today, starting at 10 a.m. on 1045 The Zone.
I'm Mick McGoran
From 1 Hour Mick.
Was going to say 1 Hour Heating and Cooling, Ryan.
The home of Mick's Trifecta.
Our spring maintenance service.
3 times better than a tune-up.
Solid preventative work for your AC system.
The region's best value.
I guarantee it 3 different ways.
Guarantee number 1.
You'll save the cost on lower utility bills.
Guarantee number 2.
Your system won't break down for 6 months.
Final guarantee.
If you're not 100% delighted, I won't charge nothing.
1hourmick.com.
Always on time, or you don't pay a dime.
1hourmick.com.
Ryan, how do you get your voice to sound like that?
Oh, yes. Got it online. Give it a try.
Hello? Hello?
Takes a bit of practice.
Lots of mixed trifectas to do today. Think I'll get back to work.
We're getting back to work.
Independently owned and operated.
Empty seats can't cheer. They don't tailgate, and they don't know fight songs. Empty seats don't sing during 7th inning stretches. And they don't know stats or superstitions. There's a soundtrack for places like this, and it isn't made in a studio. It's made by you. So when it's your turn to get the vaccine, be a fan. Take the shot.
Brought to you by your friends at Vanderbilt Health.
When you place a wager with William Hill Sportsbook, every sports moment is even more interesting. And we have a special offer to help you bet on all your favorite sports risk-free. Download the William Hill Sportsbook app, and when you sign up, you can get started with a risk-free bet of up to $500. Use promo code RadioRF.
Must be 21 years or older and present in Tennessee to bet. Paid in free bets. New users only. Terms and conditions apply. Gambling problem? Call or text the Tennessee Red Line at 1-800-889-9789.
Let's make it interesting with William Hill Sportsbook.
If you ask people, what's one of the things that's really important to you? Most people would say, saving money. I'm Shooter Stein, president of NCA, National Certified Alarms. At NCA, that's what we've been doing since 1997, saving people money. And we have something else people really like. No long-term contracts like the other guys. NCA's agreements are just month to month. Why pay $30 or more for the same service when you can save 50% or more? There are no fees to convert to NCA if you have an existing security system that's compatible. Our landline monitoring starts at just $9.95 a month, and our wireless monitoring starts at just $19.95 a month. At NCA, we're locally owned and operated. When you call us, you will talk to folks you know, not to people in some distant location. If you need a new system for your home or business, we can install one for a great price. Give us a call. We have great people that are here to help. Call us today at 615-777-7NCA. That's 615-777-7622. Or visit us online at nca.cc. License number 645.
Are you in the market for a garage, storage shed, or pole barn? Enter Affordable Building Concepts. These guys have been serving the Nashville area for 20 years and have an A-plus rating with the Better Business Bureau. They are licensed, bonded, and insured, so rest easy. Need a carport, new fence, deck, or a patio cover? Call them for your free on-site consultation, 615-594-5587. Or visit affordable-buildings.com, 615-594-5587. Affordable Building Concepts, your backyard builders.
With TwinSpire Sportsbook's Win for a Win offer, you get rewarded every time your team wins at the
Ramon Foster, Jonathan Schaefer finishing up another crazy day on the show. Tomorrow looks like it could be a big one. A couple irons in the fire for tomorrow that could be really good. But one thing I do know is Pat Ryan, the new color analyst for the Vol Network, replacing Tim Priest, to announce his retirement this morning. Pat Ryan will join us on the show tomorrow.
Mm-hmm.
Looking forward to that conversation.
I like
and you can talk to him all about the Music City Musical.
I will.
The
Music City Musical.
He'll be the second person to get a ticket.
He's probably going to be in it.
You know what? Because we chose violence today, let's do this for the folks.
So 16 seconds to play. Bills 16, Titans 15. Kevin Dyson is deep with Ike Bird. Do the Titans have a miracle left in them in what has been a magical season to this point? If they do, they need it now. Christie kicks it high and short. Going to be fielded by Lorenzo Neal at the 25. Pitches it back to Wycheck. He throws it across the field to Dyson. He's got something. 30, He's 40, got something. 50, He's got it. 40, He's got it. 20, 10. He's got it. End zone. Touchdown Titans. There are no flags on the field. It's a miracle. Tennessee has pulled a miracle. A miracle for the Titans.
That's wow. He called it a miracle before it even happened, though.
You know what he didn't call it?
The Music City Musical.
I said that so clear too. I should have just.
Oh, you
mumbled.
were very confident.
I
You were as
should've
confident
just
in that
friggin'
as
mumbled
Django and Change earlier.
You sold it like it was a birthday.
Golly. No, the birthdays are right in my mind. Right?
No, they're wrong.
You know what?
They're just wrong.
A lot of people coming out now saying you can't cancel Kayla.
Oh, you can't.
She's
cancel.
back in good graces.
You can't cancel me.
She'll be in
either.
bad graces in a couple weeks.
Yeah, oh, we can't wait to get her back. Earl T. Grace.
It's going to happen.
Mm.
You know it is.
Mm.
Got to find a way. Got to find something as divisive as the Shrek take.
Oh, no doubt.
To bring her back down to earth.
The Ryan Tannehill, Kirk Cousins take from earlier was as divisive as the Shrek take.
Do you think so?
For some. For some it was.
Nick Saban's going to be at Alabama for a while.
You got another extension or something?
I could give a about all
He's
that.
there through
Excuse my French.
2028.
He's there through 2028.
70 mil.
What?
At least, at minimum. And Andy Staples wrote yesterday, it's still a bargain. One of the greatest bargains in all of sports. When you look at the money brought in and what he's meant there. And
still a bargain.
Spot the lie. Kerry Benford choosing violence. Julio and AJ wouldn't have been 1 yard short.
Hey, man.
That's not a top off. That's a low blow. That's a nut shot right there.
Man.
What's wrong with y'all?
Ooh. Saucy nugs.
I got the story. I told you I got the story behind why he was a yard short. Pretty.
Yeah, you have told me. Yeah.
Pretty intricate, man.
Unfortunate.
Unfortunately.
Well, you know why he was a yard short? Because
Mike Jones
tackled him.
Nah,
He tackled him. That's why he was a yard short.
Very small detail.
Lamonte, I didn't say it. Lamonte's on Facebook. That's jacked up, JMart. That wasn't my opinion.
That wasn't his opinion.
You
Hey,
didn't
don't
say
come
it.
from my partner like that. Come on now.
You properly attributed it.
That's right.
Terry hit the violence button violently.
My bibliography game is strong. Works cited page up in here.
I almost want to give him a demerit, but he's 100% right.
He got it right. He's
100% right. Yeah. You just flexed on him real quick, Jay.
Yeah.
That's part of it.
Family friend Randy Mueller.
Yeah, Kayla.
Flex.
Cooler flex right there.
Flex.
She's just kind of, and she said it just like so
so
nonchalantly.
It was, you know what? It was really good.
Yeah, it was. It was effective.
It was well done.
She had to make up for the Stuart Smalley start.
So today we found out 32 years old doesn't mean a whole lot, though.
No, yeah, let's mention that one more time. And Rhett brought us some stuff that's interesting about another guy who played in San Francisco, as a matter of fact, that dealt with a ton of injuries and played for a long time and was successful. Now, that guy was a possession receiver, more so certainly than Julio Jones has ever had to be, but Anquan Bolden. And maybe we'll look through all of this information and talk about it a little bit tomorrow. But I think that your comparison yesterday, we were talking off air, that T.O., and you were talking about when he went to Philly. When he went to Philly, he was 30. He played there when he's 31 and 32. So I looked further and I said, no, I think it's actually T.O. when he left Philadelphia and went to Dallas. 8 years in San Francisco, 2 in Philadelphia. He goes to Dallas and plays his age 33, age 34, age 35.
Yes, sir.
And he has 85 receptions for 1,180 yards and 13 touchdowns, 81 receptions, 1,355 yards and 15 touchdowns, and 69 grabs for 1,052 yards and 10 touchdowns. So in 3 years in Dallas, from ages 33 to 35, he had 38 touchdowns and somewhere around 3,500 yards receiving.
Yep.
That's nuts.
Still kicking.
Like, if you get that, you should Frank the Tank down Broadway. You should be real excited about that turn of events.
Again, and this is with T.O.'s when running the ball was more prominent back then, too. I mean, let's be honest about that. Another guy I brought up on the list, man, sneeze, don't come. I know, I was real close.
I'm looking forward to it.
Larry Fitzgerald, 32 years old, 1,215 yards. 33, 1,023, and at 34 years old, 1,156 yards. There's the other couple guys, Harvin Marison and Marvin Harrison. At 32 years old, Marvin Harrison had 1,113
I have
years.
no idea who you're talking about right now.
Harvin Marison. Okay. At 33, he had 1,146. And at 34 years old, he had 1,366 yards. There's a couple other guys on this list. Jerry Rice, he's just an anomaly in itself. 32 years old, he had almost 1,500 yards. 1,499. 33 years old, he had 1,848. 34 years old, he had 1,254 yards.
You can't compare anything or anyone.
I know
to Jerry
it's not,
Rice.
but what I'm saying,
your point's fair, but with Jerry Rice, he's an avatar like Derrick Henry's an avatar.
I'll say this though, if a quarterback like Brady, and we're watching all these other quarterbacks play into their 37, 38, 39, 40, in this era of football, which hasn't really happened a whole lot at the quarterback position, even as protected as they are. Why in this age of the way guys take care of their bodies and the way the athlete has changed, cannot a receiver do those same things, play past 32?
Fair point.
You know?
Well, they certainly can. Like I said, I think what's fair is to say you got 3 years, probably 2 to 3 years of top Julio, where I think he's probably not running a 4.3 these days.
No,
but he may not have run a 4.3 since he ran it in the combine.
That's the thing, and you can be in that peak health, but how long can a receiver keep his legs?
It seems like most of these guys on this list, if they didn't retire at 33, at like age 35 is when it's hit.
I'd say 35 is probably the top end.
Look, Father Time's going to get him, but I still think you've got good football left in Julio Jones. Our thanks to Geoff Schwartz, to Dr. Eric Eager, to Kayla Anderson. A lot of choosing violence today, a little bit of choosing joy, though. If you missed any part of it, podcast is wherever you get your podcast. We'll send out the link periodically throughout the day, but you can get it on Spotify, and you can certainly get it on Apple. Drop us that 5-star review if you would, and drop us that Steve Palazzolo, Kenny Omega 6.5 Tokyo Dome as well. Tomorrow, Pat Ryan will join us on the show, the new color analyst for the Vol Network, and we got some other big irons in the fire. Maybe we'll let you know those before the end of the day on social at JMart and Ramon. For Ramon Foster and Jonathan Schaefer, I'm Jason Martin. We'll do it all again tomorrow.
Please remember, your Twitter fingers and your mic and your movie takes are always hot.
Winnetle jorts.
I can feel it all the way down in my plums.
Want exclusive Titans coverage? Just say, hey, Alexa, play 104.5 The Zone.